She's adjusting.
If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Okay, thank you everyone for joining Board of Directors monthly meeting. Paul, if you could take a roll by the quorum and proof of notice.
Yeah, so Denise Caluthi, George Custis, Brian McAdon, Clinton, and Frank Canistra present. So we have 4 quorum to proceed and in accordance with Florida statute.
Okay, did everybody have a chance to review any questions, comments? Can I get a motion to approve? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Jump into my president's report. Again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'd like to briefly note that at our last board meeting, our year-end meeting, new board members were elected. The board unanimously approved for the 26-27 term. The executive team as follows: President Keith Congleton, Treasurer Brian McAdon, Secretary Uwe Rope. Directors and committee liaisons for 26-27 are George, Frank Canistra, Court Sports Committee, Denise Cluth, and the executive officers will also serve as liaison in the following areas: Joe Planning, Keith Congleton, County Projects Oversight, Brian McAdon, Roper, Fitness. I want to thank each of these individuals. The structure ensures clear accountability and a strong alignment. As we move through the season, I want to take a few minutes to update you on where, not just in terms of activity and engagement, but also the progress we're making that will help shape Pelican Marsh going forward. First, I want to recognize participation across the community. Our court sports programs remain extremely active with strong team participation and well-attended. It's been great to see residents not only competing, but also supporting one another and creating an atmosphere around these events. Our bocce program also continues and highly engaged group within the community. The level of participation and enthusiasm, and we appreciate the leadership, thanks Dino, and organization that success. In addition, our social and community events from bingo nights, gatherings have been very well received. These events are an important part of what makes, and I want to thank our staff, volunteers, and specifically Susan Cousin for consistently delivering great experiences. I also want to highlight the success which was attended by nearly. The event featured a country western theme, live music, line dance, with nothing but positive feedback from those that attended. Despite challenging move indoors to the community center, Lynn Atkinson and her team did an outstanding job transition and delivering a seamless and highly enjoyable evening. In addition, for both tennis and pickleball, had the largest turnout we've seen to date, which is a great reflection and participation in our court sports program. This past weekend, we also followed by a celebratory luncheon, which was completely full. A tremendous success. and everyone had a phenomenal time. I also want to, before Easter, it was reported to be one of the highest revenue days for courtside since it opened. The Easter Bunny, the egg hunt, and a significant number of both reservations. An incredibly active and successful day. As a result, courtside's year-to-date revenue is last year, which is a strong indicator of both resident engagement and the continued operations. From a broader planning perspective, we continue to make progress on several. Most notably, we have signed an agreement with the Pelican Marsh Golf Club, enabling the community's employee parking across the street. This was a critical step, allowing enhance our amenities. As reflected on today's agenda, under new, asked to approve sending a proxy to the community to consider a proposed three. This project would include enhancements to the fitness center, a new multiple cards, games, and community activities, as well as a dedicated spin room. By the board, this will allow the community to review the proposal and ultimately determine whether this represents a thoughtful and forward-looking investment in Pelican Marsh residents as part of that process. We are also continuing to move beautification efforts. Phase 1 will focus on enhancing the entry experience, improvements around the bocce courts. Phase 2 will address the areas surrounding our, including the recently completed shaded patio, which has already been a great addition for both. In addition, the Gatehouse project is scheduled to begin on or about, with completion expected later this year. This will be another visible improvement to structure. From a financial standpoint, we remain in a very strong position. The renegotiation of our Comcast agreement has generated significant, a portion of which is being strategically set aside to help fund future improvements. Part of our ongoing reserve planning, we have identified certain capital improvements, including around the tennis and pickleball courts, that may need to be addressed sooner than originally scheduled. Reserve replacements and are consistent with our long-term maintenance planning. Evaluating additional landscaping enhancements in those areas, which would be considered new. Good news is that the resale activity within Pelican Marsh has exceeded expectations. Reserves and operating strength, we are well positioned to address both the replacement needs in a thoughtful and responsible manner. The board will continue to evaluate as we move forward. Before I close, I want to emphasize that while we're excited about, also committed to a thoughtful and measured approach. Any major expansion plans will be brought, ultimately will require both resident and county approval. In the meantime, we'll continue delivering a high quality experience for the residents, maintaining our facilities and build. Thanks again for your time, your involvement, and your continued support. Thank you, Paul, for General Manager's report.
Thank you, Joe. So it's been another taking advantage of all the amenities and activities and events we have to offer. I've got the following pulled up for you. These charts show us the activity over the past 3 months. First chart, you can see pickleball had our highest volume so far this year. As far as the number of plays, about the same, making up those plays. Also, March was a very busy month for us. Um, Gym also very busy this time of year. Uh, are, which includes like the uh, Zumba and other kind of classes we have. We took a dip in February, but it went up a little bit back in March as far as our spa see growth, especially with the addition of the new therapists we brought on. They're very popular um, with that area. So it'd be a great thing if this would enhance that area even more, enhance these numbers in the future. And you can see activities participation in March was our highest, the biggest month we have when Lynn schedules most of her events and activities and programs. And bocce, number of plays, mainly with the bocce tournaments and leagues we have playing throughout those months. Are any questions on the use numbers? So even though season's still winding down, out there each day biking, walking, or maybe jogging throughout the community, enjoying the weather. So when driving and your guests are following the posted speed limit and making full stops at all the stop signs, and bikers also please remember and making stops at all stop signs as well. Then clean up after using the facilities to make the area nice for other residents coming in afterwards. We make our facilities nice and for the enjoyment of everyone. For those for the summer, don't forget to complete any required cleaning and maintenance that's needed on your home. Watch person or service lined up to monitor your home while you're away to prevent any unforeseen. We still have a handful of residents who have not yet registered on the Pelican Rush website. This is the best way for us to keep you informed and updated what's happening in Pelican Marsh. So keep connected with us, what's happening in the summer. We have about 18% of the homes. And lastly, the staff and I appreciate everyone's support, and we thank everyone for the season to remember, and that's my report.
Thank you, Paul. If you want to put up the treasure. Brian, we'll go ahead and move on to the treasurer's report.
Very good, Joe. I'll just let everyone know that our independent auditors have completed the 2020. It's been reviewed by the Finance Committee, and we have signed off on that. So
Pretty smooth this year.
it's just there's two normal timing items. One of the changes we made to our bylaws, and that's the allocation of resale fees. From a GAAP perspective, now compliant the way we're doing it now with GAAP and how we allocate the resale fees. Traditionally, 25, that was part of a reclass that had to be performed by the auditors.
Okay.
And the second, we do not record depreciation until year end, so that's a reconciling item to be GAAP compliant, but
Okay.
no issues.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian.
Financials, so operating income year to date, $43,000 better than this, I'm sorry, 6,100 better than budget. A lot of that was driven by the fin referring to and stronger than budgeted interest income. Expenses budget, and you see in the graph on the right, budget was 1.14 million, 65. The main difference for that is the money that we've incurred related to until such a point in time that we have approval from the community. Anything that we've architectural fees, we have to expense. If we do move forward, those to the capital project itself, but that's the main driver there. As Joe March 513,000. That's actually the third highest month operating and 14% higher than last year. Joe had mentioned this. We are doing very well compared to budget. Sales a year based on our history. Year-to-date budget is, and from what I understand, we actually have 11 in the hopper for April already to be a driver of our financial stability. Next page. Now, this page has not changed from last month because being at year end. I kept it in just as a conversation piece because when you look at managers, a lot's going to be driven by our community vote. A number of $322,000. That includes refurbishing this ballroom, building the playground, which was due for equipment replacement. Well, obviously, we're not going to go through major construction. So I just want to highlight that next month and talk about this, a little bit of knowledge that you have in terms of. Now, one thing that we do have flexibility on is if we do delay. Joe had mentioned that there are some things planned for next summer that we might be able to swap or by the reserves that we have and the planned reserves we have. You know, we should have well over $600,000 by the end of this year. We have the capability of swapping those items and doing some things. Okay. And the next page is just a snapshot of today. If you want to pull up page 3. Oh, that's okay. So as I mentioned, the replacement funds at $600,000 right now, $329,000, and the capital fund right now is at $560,000. It's at $93,000. So we've really done a good job of having some discipline, especially from a capital perspective, depending on where we want to move in terms of that balance. In the capital fund includes $300,000 that we set aside in the fall. So that came out of our budget operating assessment to set aside.
That was the Comcast savings.
And that all comes back from the Comcast savings. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, you have building under a separate category, but
Oh, on this page, I have building on a separate category. What I was referencing is the next page up, but it will be available to the community. That basically shows the capital fund, including March 31st, was a balance of $560,000.
Brian, where here is it in building?
In 2 different ways.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll try to be brief.
Yeah.
It comes out of capital. And I'll tell you why, because I don't want to go get it until I absolutely have to for the overall building expansion, even though I would only be paying, we'd be paying to the extent that we're able to finance that ourselves, and the parking lot all in will be in excess of $400,000. So from the capital fund that we're building up here.
So as some of the fund spending would be delayed till next year, one of the things we might pull forward would be spending on that parking lot, or is that in a different?
That would be in the capital bucket here. So if you look at the capital bucket, you know, we are into dollars by the end of this year. As Joe mentioned, we're very much ahead. So I expect that to increase probably in excess of 100,000. So I think we'll out of that.
Just make sure my question.
Yeah, it's hard because, you know, So they're, in the reserve schedule, such as the fencing and light poles and so forth, opposed to the parking lot. We have the flexibility of using that 300,000 as well. Finish it. So that's another source of funds for us, Keith.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Nice job, Brian. Thank you. We've added this last year, and we've got a couple of changes liaison. So I'm going to just go around the horn. George, you're first.
I don't have anything. I don't think anything new has happened there since our last report.
Okay.
Frank, our new son, anything to update?
Thanks, Joe. I want to first say thanks to Dino. Working with Dino is the best. So thanks for that. And I want to thank George for the court committee that I am now going to be.
Frank, just pull up
Oh, sorry. So, a couple lighter issues and as quick as I can. I'm not going to go over all the numbers that Johan provided. No, tennis and pickleball are full every day, and so God bless. And having the beautiful facilities to keep them busy. Joe, I'm going to kind of. We had a ladies event on Sunday that Johan had to get out of bed and come. Event, and it was more than we expected, and it was wonderful. About the second annual next year, and we're also talking about doing something similar on the pickleball. So that's great. Thursday, there's a happy hour. 30, court sports end of the season party. So 5:30 to 7:30, you buy a complimentary glass of wine or beer. Free mug or free wine glass, your choice, I guess. I think rising right now. So call Johan's office, or should I say Allie's office, if you want to do it. And if you want dinner, then obviously go through courtside and make your reservation. Always fun, a lot of good people seeing each other without the rackets. So I do want to do one other thing that's a little more serious, which we just started last year. We combined tennis, pickleball, and committee. They have asked me to read a letter with the board, with the board's permission, and if you guys don't mind, I'm going to take 2 to 3 minutes that I was asked to read by the chairman of our sports coach committee, Chris. All the other names at the end. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead. I'll try to get through it. Okay, here we go. Dear Pelican Governors, given the condition of the current court sports facilities and the recent findings of Bentley, our court sports committee recommends the following actions to remedy multiple. One, approximately 75% of the light posts and bases have to be replaced within 5 to 10 years. It is the recommendation of the committee it will be far less disruptive or expensive to the community and the activities to complete to bring in equipment and crews intermittently over the next 5 to 10 years does not make sense. That needs attention immediately. That's number one. Number two, the fences around the basement in 2027. Unfortunately, there are numerous areas on all courts that are jagged. Portions of the fences at the bases have been removed due to corrosion and the gate. The conditions are extremely dangerous and could cause injuries to any participant. Unsightly and not representative of the standards of this community. It is the recommendation of the committee to accelerate this project from 2027 to 2026. And number three, there was a gas odor. And if anybody's around the courts, you can't miss it, unfortunately. There's a gas odor that is present outside of the pro shop that appears to be coming from the sewage system. It appears that there is a break or a blockage in the venting of the sewer line. It is unhealthy to breathe in and unbearable for those wanting to play pickleball or anybody walking by. It is the recommendation of this committee to rectify this situation as soon as possible. The committee has received comments, questions, and heard many participating residents express their concern for these three items. We realize that there's a significant cost to these repairs. However, safety and our residents' well-being should always be our priority. On behalf of the Pelican Marsh Court Sports Committee, Chris Diorio, and the rest of the members I should mention are Maureen, Beth, Barbara, Patrick, Jay, and Mark. So thank you for letting me read that out.
Yep.
And any questions or comments, that's fine. But
Maybe just a point of clarification, Frank. I don't, I kind of agree with all the recommendations that are put forth. Just from a factual perspective, I know, having just got a report out of the Bentley Electric findings, that there's some exaggeration in the numbers being thrown about. It doesn't take away the point that there's a problem that needs to be addressed.
Agreed.
Just for clarification.
Agreed. Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah.
As long as we're on that point, maybe we can go through this now. I know we're kind of heading off on a direction here rather than going around, but I don't want to have to come back around to it. So we got three real points here. One is the light poles. Number two is the fencing. And number three is the odor, which has been, seems like we think we fixed it and then it comes back. And so we don't know what it is.
I know we've had three different plumbers out and
Right.
each one of them comes to a halt.
So I don't know what the answer is to that one, but what I'd like to do is, Paul, you've got the information with respect to the light poles and that sort of thing. Can you give an update on what that report actually said? And then we should probably discuss it.
Question, Joe, before you do that. So does the letter go into the minutes? And if it does, the question is, does the letter that was read go into the minutes? And if it does, I think it's important we introduce the data and the information in that report from Bentley into the minutes as well, so that we have an accurate accounting of.
Exactly. We'll do both.
Oh, okay, so,
And just a question, Bentley is the.
The expert company that came in and assessed the light poles.
Joe, just say that
Yeah, so
Tell
for
everybody-
clarification,
so everybody knows who it
we
is.
had Bentley Electric, who is a provider of light poles for court sports, come in and evaluate every single pole. They removed the caps and tried to assess the areas of damage and the remaining useful life on each of the remaining poles. I don't know, Paul, is it 36 poles or?
Right.
we have a total of 38.
And there was a reason why we brought Bentley Electric in to begin with. And the reason was we've had lights fall off poles because the light poles been rusted at the top. The mountings came loose and lights came down. And that was really what triggered the Bentley report, and that takes us to
Correct,
where we are
correct.
now.
Because,
Obviously, the liability issue is the big thing, but there's a couple different options and I'll let Paul go ahead.
well, first of all, the light poles are really in two parts. You got the actual light pole and then the fixture and arms that sit on top of that. The fixtures and arms that sit on top of the light poles were replaced about in 2020, so they're fairly new. They're to LED lights. The issue is the pole itself. They're the original poles installed around the courts. And
About what year, Paul?
they're about anywhere from 25 years.
25 year, yeah.
Yeah,
And
thereabouts.
from what I recall from the reserve study, the useful life is 20 to 25
25,
years.
correct.
Just point of reference for everyone.
End of the use.
Yes. Yeah, right. So the issue is that on top of the poles is a tenon that the light arms affixed to or here to. And the thing is that when it's on top, you can't see the tenon, so we didn't know about the rusting issue. So when one fell off or now two fall off, we then had Bentley go up and take every light fixture off and inspect each tenon to see what the situation was. And this is what the report came up with. So they inspected all the light poles and found that of the light poles, 18 of the poles were in fairly good condition except for the tenon at top that was rusting out that possibly could break in the future. And 3 of the light poles they found at the base were so rusted that they had to be replaced regardless. So they have a adapter that can replace the tenon at the top of the pole that goes, it's made out of aluminum, not metal, so it won't rust, that replaces the tenon, and then the light fixture can be affixed to that, which is a lesser cost to replace the entire pole. They found the remaining pole was generally in good condition and had, at least a conservative estimate, 5 years or more left in it. So that was what they came up with, was that they could replace the 18 poles with those adapters, plus replacing the 3 entire other light poles at a cost of around $46,000 to do it
It's a
all.
lower amount.
Yes.
Yes.
However, if we wanted to forego and not salvage those poles they deemed as good and just replace with the adapters and replace the entire pole, we're looking, that'll be a total of 19 poles altogether then, at a cost of $110,000 to replace all the poles. However, that does not include court repair maintenance, because when they take out the poles, they have to extract the footers from the tennis courts, which may cause damage. So we have to build a contingency into that budget to repair the courts after that.
And obviously, on the tennis side, 2 to 3 courts are going to be down at a time.
Yeah, it would take about, we probably close 2 courts at a time
These 2, yeah.
for about a week to get
Yeah.
the whole job done.
Paul, just to clarify, if we just repair the adapters on some of them, that does not require the courts to be fixed up. It's only if we replace the whole pole that we
Correct.
have to repair the court. correct?
Because we're not messing with the base.
Right.
So all poles are scheduled to be replaced starting, I think, this year under a 7-year cycle.
Yeah.
And our reserve schedule reflects that.
We have 5 poles each year over the next 7 years.
That's right.
Right.
For a total of, I think it's $110,000 or $120,000.
Correct.
Which is adjusted for inflation based on today's cost, but I would expect the cost to be actually higher than what we have in our model. So the question becomes, let's say that the all-in cost is 140.
Mhm.
So we're talking about spending 46 today or 146 today, knowing that at some point in the next 10 years, we're going to have to replace them anyway.
Correct.
Right.
If we replace them all now, we're good for 25 years, probably.
That's what I'm thinking, Joe.
Reasonable expectation. I think.
I just think that the prudent thing to do is just to bite the bullet and spend it up front. And, as I highlighted, even if we do proceed with the playground and the ballroom, we still have the reserve funds to do this project. And obviously, if it's a function of the playground and the ballroom being deferred based on our vote till a year or 2 in the future, then obviously we'd be able, it's a swap at that point. So I'm personally in favor of doing the larger scale project now as opposed to do a piecemeal.
Right. Brian, are you saying do all the poles at once?
Yes.
As opposed to 5 at a time?
Yes.
For 7 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Just the 8 people, not all. Just the ones.
We wouldn't have to replace all 38 of them because some of them are new. It's
Right.
really only 18.
The 18 that are
Yeah,
Right,
so we'd be
right.
replacing poles and the 3 complete poles and then the other.
what's the, when were the other ones put in? What's the remaining life on the other ones?
I thought I have to dig into the archives to find out when each court was installed.
Is it safe to say that it's more than 10 years of useful life expectancy?
I would say yes. I would definitely say if we now did all 19 poles now up front, that would then buy us time to put it on the schedule to do the remaining poles over time.
Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
so without having any issues of them falling off.
Right, and just to clarify, the first issue, I think, came after Milton, that the first one came down.
Correct.
On Court 8 or Court 9.
Correct.
Whether or not those winds damaged the other one that came down, I'm not really sure, but, you know, at least on the first one, there was a actual event that led to it come down.
Right, and both of those are pretty scary because you would die if you were underneath there and that thing fell, because it takes about 3 or 4 people to pick those light fixtures up and carry them. I mean, you would be dead if it hit you on the head. So you're probably not going to be standing underneath the light, but somebody could be walking in there. So it's an issue. We need to address it. So I'd like to hear from other board members. I originally kind of kicked around an email and said, let's do partial now and do this over time. But as I'm hearing all of this, and because I thought it was going to be like 250, 300,000, now that I hear it's 110 and maybe we've got to reserve another 20 or 30, maybe it makes more sense to do it now.
I would just say, I want to echo the spirit of the letter, right? The safety and well-being of our residents is the primary concern, of course.
Right.
That said, I think there's a couple of options that are being proposed, and it's not clear to me anyway. You know, we've got the $46,000 option, then I heard 110,000, but that's only 19 poles, not all the poles, and the other poles are gonna have some life expectancy beyond that. It'd be helpful for me personally to kind of model each of these solution paths to see what the cost is gonna be over 3 to 5 years, so we can compare apples and apples. I feel like we've got apples, oranges, and pears here. And I don't want to make it more complicated than it is. Brian, you may have this clear in your head already.
No, I'm not familiar with the life of the remaining poles, Keith, so it's a fair ask.
I think for all of us to make a well-informed decision, let's get it all on the table.
Yeah, that's
Organize
my
it
point.
in a way that we can go, yeah, A is clearly the best choice.
So let me ask this question. Do we have between now and the next board meeting, or should we have a special meeting just to address that issue? How do we get this, is it going to take us 4 weeks anyway? To get
Well,
if you could, in the next week or two, you had all of that stuff and we could look at it.
So, Paul, I guess what we're asking for is a full inventory of all 38 poles.
well, they did inspection, but
Right, but then translate it financially in terms of what would be required today, what would be another option, and then what would the remaining ones look like in the future? I think people are just having a difficult time visualizing we spent $110,000, then what would we have anything?
What do we have left?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
I
another
think we're
50? Is it
jumping.
another 80?
the issue is, they did the inspection of the poles, and I know what the levels of the quality or the status of the poles are. But those poles they deem to be in solid good condition, I still don't know the age of that pole, so I still got to find out
Right.
the age of that pole.
We need a reasonable estimate of the life expectancy on those. If it's 10 years, I think that makes us feel good. Yeah, we could leave that pole intact. If it's questionable at 5 years, well, maybe we want to do the others as well. That's the kind of information I think would be helpful for me anyway to make a good decision. I want to know that I'm not going to be spending $150,000 now, and then in 3 years, we're going to go, oh geez, we should have done these 15 poles as well.
Well, I think from the report they gave us, the remaining poles that aren't on the list definitely have 5+ years left.
Okay.
So we could definitely stagger those poles in the reserve schedule to get those done over time.
And they said minimum 5 years, so it could be.
So my
Could be
question is, are we voting on one of these two options now, or do we need more information?
I think we need more time,
I think we need more.
Okay.
information.
So.
more information on that.
So then the next question is waiting 4 weeks, does that put us in any issue, any,
Well, we have 21 poles right now that are not in function because either
they're down, the lights are off.
or they either need the power replaced, which is 3 definitely, or put adapters or replace them all together. So no 19 have to be done.
So
I
Well,
don't
just to
know that we're
just to clarify, I think you said a few minutes ago, Paul, that 18 need new adapters, at least as a minimum.
Well, we have 21 poles in total that aren't functionable because either the heads are off. And to put the head back on, you have to put an adapter, which is 18 of them, and the other 3 are full replacement.
Okay. I thought the 3 were part of the 18. So
No,
it's not
total of
18 and
21
3, it's
together.
18 and 3. So
This is why we need all this put down on paper so we can look
Look
at
at
it.
it.
Well,
now, Joe, we have a special meeting on May 7th. Could we do this at the special meeting on May 7th, or is that? no?
This is a board issued, special meeting is a member meeting.
All right, okay, so we can't, okay.
We could schedule a meeting before or after that, though, Uwe.
Yeah.
Whenever we wanted to talk about it again, we could schedule a
Pick it
meeting.
up, have a meeting, make a decision, but we need the information to make the
Right.
decision.
I just, a little concerned, just reading body language that, are we gonna have more informed information if we wait 3 weeks than what you've indicated already, that to do 18 polls is 110,000 plus some kind of allowance to repair the courts, and the remaining polls have, we've heard 10+ years, we've heard 5+ years. I guess I'm just a little skeptical we're gonna, in 3 weeks, have better information.
I'm just skeptical we have other stuff coming up, like the fencing, for example. which
Well, that was
I
going,
two on
that's
that.
what I'm gonna get to next, because the fencing rolls into a whole nother
Yeah.
issue, and I'll go ahead and, does
Is the
everybody
fencing,
understand where we are with the polls?
is the fencing also a reserve issue, or will that be a capital issue?
No, it's a reserve item. It's
a
reserved for
reserve item.
replacement next year. It's been reserved for $110,000 for next year. Once again, if we don't do the ballroom and the playground and we swap that with the fencing and the pole work, it's a like for like type of swap. So, and to be honest, even if we do the playground and the ballroom, if the vote is no, we will still have enough reserve funds to do all 4 items.
One more point on this, Paul, if you would look into, I was watching the Bentley Electric take off one of the arms and noticed that water gushed out of that fixture down the tube and onto the court while they were doing that. That seems like there's a leak in the fixtures, which would explain why there's rust on that
Water
junction
seeping in.
between them. Now, so is this potentially a defect in installation or a defect in the product? And aren't we potentially going to have that same problem again if we just put adapters on, or even if we replace the poles? Could it be the same issue? It'd be great if we can get the manufacturer to say, yeah, no, that shouldn't happen. They should be sealed, or there should be a seal on a fixture, blah, 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 something like that. And also to get word from the manufacturer of what they deem the life of these to be. Those poles from the rusty part down to the base look like new in most cases. Why can't they last 40 years? Right? So anyway, if we could get that kind of information along with the other details of which, the numbers, as Brian mentioned. I know, Brian, it's a lot of information in 3 weeks. Are we going to have enough? Do we need, if we need 6 weeks, I think we should.
But so again, they've already rated all the polls in the condition wise. So the question is, if I go to a poll or set of polls they deem as in good condition with no rust, however, we go back in the records to find that poll is 20 years old. So that's the question, do we still want to move forward with replacement? Because it's,
Though it's a solid looking pole and it's probably doesn't need.
but it's 20 years old. So that's the question. How much more do you want to go along with that pole being there? Or just no matter how old the pole is, at 25 years, we just replace it?
I mean, the company that did the reserve study, I mean, this is what they do. They look at assets and they look at useful lives around multiple facilities. The estimated life of a pole that we have is 20 to 25 years. I mean, that's the data point that we're dealing with.
But that is just a data point. That's not the
Yeah.
physical condition. So I,
My fear is that we don't make a decision today, we come back 6 weeks from now and we're sitting at the same spot.
Right.
So
I was thinking the same thing, Joe. So I guess I would advocate going ahead and doing the 19 polls or whatever they're told, 21 polls are. And I can support that if people want to pursue it, because there is some sense of urgency around this.
right.
We can get additional information on the remaining polls and make a separate decision on them before this whole thing gets underway or maybe gets wrapped up, and say A or nay on whether we're going to do additional work. But I think I'm not sure. I'm trying to read you, Paul. Are you saying no? What do you?
No, I mean, so we can do that. And then we can always, if the board comes back and
Add the scope to do.
you want
the
to add this
additional.
more of your polls, then I'll
Right.
just add that to the work order of Bentley in the
Yeah,
summer and do it then.
Keith, can you just clarify your position? So there's 2 proposals on the table.
Yes,
One is for 18 adapters and 3 poles.
right.
One is for 21 poles and I guess 18 adapters.
No.
Or they don't need adapters at that
That
point.
includes the.
That includes the adapter.
The The tenon and everything.
Right.
So rather than replace the tenon, you replace the whole pole,
Correct.
put a whole new
And
fixture.
it
So-
comes with the new tenon, so you don't have to worry about it.
Correct.
So if you could just clarify which you're in favor of.
I'm in favor of replacing the entire pole for those that are compromised in any way.
So in other words, the $140,000.
Yes, yeah, well, yes, that's correct.
Okay,
And that gets us 21 new poles with new fixtures on the top, or
Well,
well,
the pictures are.
fixtures will be the same. They're
Right.
6 years old.
New pole.
those are all pretty new.
Yeah,
But you only get 3 new pools.
We
No,
got
that-
21 new poles.
Oh, you-
21
that would be all
poles,
21,
right.
as opposed to repairing the poles that are already 25 years old, which to me seems like.
It's either
you know,
45 or
throwing good money after
139.
bad.
Yes,
So that would be my proposal, if that's appropriate.
Brian, what do you think?
yes, I agree with that.
Uwe?
I think spending 46,000 to repair the old poles, if we can get 21 new poles for 110,000, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Then no, I wouldn't spend 50. For 110, we can get new poles.
Agreed.
Agreed.
I like Keith's idea.
George?
I'm not sure. I'll abstain. I still feel like I need more information, but, if there is a sense of urgency, I'd go along with it. I don't think we're talking about making a big blunder here. So I would go along with the recommendation of the other board members, but, I personally would prefer a little more information to make the decision.
George, I think we do need more information on the remaining poles and what we want to do with those, if we add them into the scope of this or not. The reason I'm advocating this approach is that we're gonna have to do something with these poles within the next 5 years anyway. So let's put new poles out there with this current light fixture.
I don't know,
We got less
I don't
to
know
deal
if
Okay, I'm
that's
making an
my
assumption.
question. I sort of question this 5-year thing.
Okay.
I don't know,
Fair enough.
but I'm not a electrician or.
And back to Uwe's point, right? It's 46,000 or 140,000.
Yeah.
Conservative estimate on life expectancy, it could be certainly more than 5 years.
Right, minimum, right.
Yeah.
So, but that was just, they wanted to cover themselves.
So if it were, I'm speaking like it's Keith's backyard, right? This is what I was, this is what I.
You know, and I felt the same way too, when I heard it from Chris and when I heard Brian, and I said, just get them, right? But you
I
know,
was
trying to do my
I was
fiduciary
in the
responsibility.
camp and I sent this in an email to the board that let's do the 45 and let's get on a schedule. But because I thought we were looking at $250,000 to $400,000 now, and once I hear, well, it's 110, but once we take out these poles, we may have some damage, so we need a little buffer there, maybe $20,000 or $30,000. We may or may not have to. Then I'm inclined to do the bigger job now, and then we still have more poles we have to deal with later on, which we have more time for and everything else.
I can go along with it.
And then, so Denise,
I'm in favor of spending the 140 or plus the contingency to do this versus
Okay.
wasting 50 and
All right,
then
so we-
finding out we have to do.
we know where everybody's heads are. Do we have any questions from the community?
I got 2 questions. What caused?
You might want to come up here to the,
Here, Jerry, please.
Since I put all the light bulbs in on the new courts.
that's why they're breaking.
uh,
They're the ones that are still standing, I think.
8 and 9, what caused those fixtures to fall?
Well, it was rust and then we
Because
had
they're
a
the
bunch of,
newest fixtures.
wind.
On the tennis courts, 8 and 9 are the newest fixtures.
Yeah, 9 definitely fell after Milton, that's, when that came through.
So from-
They don't build them like they used to, Jerry. They don't build them like they used to.
Well,
Well, they were probably they damaged the
Compromised,
poles
yeah.
probably when reinstalling the new arms.
we jerry-rigged additional protection around the bases of these poles years ago for the corrosion. That's my second question, is what kind of poles are you gonna replace them with? Steel or cast aluminum?
Or fiberglass.
Doing the new poles will be the same type they put on the new pickleball courts, which are cast aluminum. So, and they, how they put the poles in, they actually put a precast footer in the ground
Right,
with the wiring coming up, and then they bolt the pole on top of that.
to that.
The older poles were actually direct buried and encased in the concrete, so you just can't pull them out.
Exactly.
So that's the problem.
Yeah, well, you're talking 35
Yeah,
years.
I know. So, but this way, for the new poles will be much better.
So they'll be cast aluminum then.
We're spending a lot of time here, so we need to move along with the agenda. Thank you very much, Jerry. Let's talk about the fence for a second. If we're gonna be doing the poles, and we go down the path of saying, hey, we've got disruption here, should we go ahead and do the fence? I don't really pay attention to the fence unless I run into the fence, and I ran into the fence a couple times today, and I looked down, and there's a lot of jagged things with the fencing. Question is, do we do the fencing this summer as well? If we're gonna do the fencing, I'm gonna carry one more thing forward. Our whole idea of pushing the fencing back a year was the fact that we were gonna do the landscaping between the tennis courts. When we do the landscaping, we're gonna have to dig trenches and do all of that. I would rather us talk about doing all of this at once. If we're gonna pull it forward, if we're gonna pull the light poles forward, we're gonna pull the fencing forward, why wouldn't we get an estimate to go ahead and do the trenching and the landscaping so that we get all this done? We don't have 2 years of mess.
Well, I think, Joe,
And I don't know how much money we're talking.
well, the people are probably tired of hearing about the reserve study, but the reserve study has $110,000 for replacement of the fencing on the 8 tennis court.
Right, okay,
That does not include extending the concrete trough around all 4 sides of the tennis courts. Right now, it's only on probably 2 sides of some of the tennis courts. Anyway, the thought with the landscaping was don't put new landscaping in if you're going to rip it up by putting in new fencing. If you're going to put new fencing in first, I don't think the timing of the landscaping is going to be as critical because you're not going to damage what goes in from the fencing and the
Okay, okay.
concrete. I think that's the
so
logic of it.
if we could, so you're saying we could do the poles and the fencing, and we could hold off on the trenching and the landscaping until.
I would do the trenching. I would do the
Would do the
trench concrete.
trenching now.
Yes, because I think the same fence company would have to do that, because they'll put the new poles in the trench that's about to be laid. So I would do the
And we could
trenching
do
and the
the
fencing.
astroturf and the paving the following year.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Now, I can't, 110, it's just a reserve study for the fencing. We don't have a quote. And that might be prudent to just wait till next time we can get together or we have that number for what the actual trough. And what the trough does, it allows the clay not to go into your new landscaping. If you go around and look, there's clay all through the rocks and the landscaping that we have. So we don't have a number for what that trough, concrete trough would be. I would be making up numbers.
Yeah. So should we go ahead and vote on the poles and the fencing? And then next month, we can talk about the trenching?
If everyone's comfortable with that, or,
Yes, I would like to separate the fencing from the poles.
Yeah.
Only because I feel some urgency on the poles, the fencing,
Right.
I think we have a little more time on.
yeah.
Okay,
And I'd like to get some better information on cost,
okay.
how this all ties together.
So
Agree.
we'll we want to make a motion on the poles today and then do the fencing and trough next month.
Yes.
Okay.
And Paul, we would just ask to firm up the fencing quote and get a quote on the concrete trough.
All right.
Right.
Does either Keith or Brian want to articulate the motion for the poles?
So I guess the motion is to fund $140,000, which is basically 110,000 plus a $30,000 contingency for repairs to the courts to replace 18 poles on the tennis courts, light poles.
21, I thought.
Is it 21? I'm sorry, my apologies.
21, okay. That's your motion, Brian. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Glad we got through that. Hopefully, we've got very short. 140.
So in the fencing deferred till next meeting.
Next meeting, fencing and the,
Now,
Yes.
Dual quote.
I was going to say, the nice thing about deferring it to the next meeting is we'll have what we're doing from a reserve perspective on the playground and the ballroom, it'll be after the vote. Certainty that we have those funds deferred.
And maybe a budget number for the fencing works.
That's right.
The third item on that list was the gas. gas.
yeah, the gas.
First time we've looked at the gas, I think it's been looked at several times, and I think we still don't.
Is there somebody?
Is there any other work that could be done, like a scoping?
Or somebody, for reference, who somebody specializes in this.
TV cameras.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would a camera inspection of the sewer?
You do like, it's called a smoke test, where you actually take in the main entry of the sewer system. Now,
Right.
to track it, maybe they could find the crack at that point.
Let's do that. It just keeps
Because
coming back up.
we don't know what we're fixing. As far as I can tell, it's been looked at 3
But the
times.
problem seems to be certain wind direction, you
Yeah.
know, so if there is indeed a crack or some direction is bringing out the odor, and it's very hard to replicate.
Hate to spend
Y'all
money
might,
on
y'all might
it.
not
We don't
want to be
know.
hearing about all this gas, but I haven't really smelled. But it's
bad.
supposedly so bad that you just want to throw up.
It's bad.
So it's bad.
It's
We
bad.
gotta,
It's not consistent and it's not coming from the inside, we know,
No,
No.
no,
So-
definitely outside.
which is on the roof.
the wind blows and
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I. Usually it just, I was just gonna say, usually the solution is to raise it up and I'm. Whoever looked at it said, usually you just gotta go higher.
If it's plumbed
If-
correctly, it
if-
might need a dispersion extension, right, with some kind of a.
Yeah, or even a fan to accelerate.
The fan,
But we're sure it's coming from that stack on the sports courts building, and I'm not 100% sure that on the stack on the sports court.
we don't know.
we're making that assumption because it's not coming from the inside, it's not gas in the building.
But it could be a drain, a
But
sewer
that's,
somewhere.
but that's why I would like one more look at to really, so the smoke study sounds interesting. At least it would give us some additional what the cause of it is.
Yeah.
Or where it's coming from.
Well, it sounds like, Paul, you're on that, right?
Yeah.
You'll,
will find a way, finding some specialists or whatever, we will find a result. It's gotta be.
okay. All right, let's run around the rest of the committees.
They had bathroom issues too, though.
I don't believe we have any design review committee to report. And Uwe, anything on fitness?
There's been no fitness meeting, but you saw the numbers. The fitness is great, but there's been no meeting and I have no update.
Okay, we just had a long, and we've discussed everything that has been discussed with respect to long-term planning for right now. And then Keith,
I think
CDD,
you already touched on the main gate. Activity starts May 4th. And otherwise, we're on.
Okay.
track.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight, you mentioned the gate in your, of course, Bob's project.
I looked at him, he nodded, so, on or around May 4th, it could be May 5th, it could be May 10th.
It's gonna take 2 weeks to take the building apart, so. But they'll tear it down.
And what's the approximate schedule for that work, Bob?
Done by
End of September.
Okay,
Every time we talk to you, you get a couple more weeks.
all right, thank you very much for that. Okay, let's jump into new business. So 10-1 is looking for the board to approve voting proxy seeking membership approval of the funding needed for the proposed community. About this, I said in my opening remarks, we had a meeting, the last meeting, so everybody knows what this is.
Well, I just want to clarify, this is the motion to put this out. This means
That's
now the
right.
community has a.
We're agreeing now to get it out to the community.
We're not voting to spend money,
Nope.
we're voting to consult the community.
That's right. And once we say, yeah, an electronic version that goes out to all the people that are electronic and they can see it, it references them back to view the video in case, you were here at the last meeting a little bit and made some changes and it looks better now. There's some things in there that, like, you couldn't see the activity room. So we had them come back and show what the activity room, we had the difference of the, as you came in, you may have been looking at it and said, well, I asked them to say, well, what did it look like before and then after? And then what's it look like when we put playground in? So there was another section there where there was some doing massages. That's not what's going to happen there. So we took out those massages going right in the middle of the room. So when you look and you were at the last meeting, it's changed because when we sent this out to the community, we accurate and we wanted it to be more full with what the whole picture was going to look like.
Only going out with the concept, right? What we're really asking the community for is to approve a budget or.
Yes.
The budget?
Yes, yeah.
The budget.
To guidance that we believe the project would not exceed $3 million, which based on contingency on our estimates. So we are asking for approval to spend.
Yes.
And,
Okay.
and so if there was some minor changes, we still, the layout, we could still do that. This is the approval in concept, correct?
Approving the cost,
The cost.
The cost, so
the funding needed.
the funding for
Everybody
both the
clear?
budget and the way we're gonna raise it.
How we're gonna pay? Yeah. Okay. All right. Can I get a motion?
Yeah, I motion that we put forth to the community, expand our community center at a cost not to exceed $3 million. Extension to the gym, a spin room, a new studio, and a room for the community.
Okay.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. What?
So then with that being approved, to membership, those who receive it electronically will receive it tomorrow. Receive it later in the week.
And votes due by,
The special members meeting is scheduled 7th,
and people can vote pretty much right up to the meeting?
correct?
We need. Says it right in the quorum.
Simple majority of the.
I'm not suggesting till May 7th until to vote. I hope you vote as soon as you get the notices.
Packet sent out, there is actually embedded in the email a link you can click right on. It's also on our website now. We can click on and look at details of the project, what we're going to get done, and then the video will be there also on the website.
Awesome.
Paul, I'm sorry, I've been away for a week or so, to put any kind of posters or anything.
We'll have that ready by tomorrow too to go out.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you all for ready and done. Next up is approval of funding for landscaping upgrades to the community center ground.
So we have a design plan to upgrade the landscaping around the community center, courtyard area, and around the bocce course this summer. With the estimates we received, no more than $70,000 for this project. So I'm looking to get $1,000 to proceed.
You get a motion there.
I want
Just have a little dialogue first.
on that first. So I've had a little bit of feedback, both very positive on what we're doing with concerns about spending. And today we've talked about spending a lot of money. We're building expansion. We talked about lights. We talked about fencing. And the community that our facility is 25 years old. We have and it needs to be looked at. So I think sometimes I understand why we spend all this money. And I think we need to look at that. The side of that is the community is 25 years old. We have stuff that's starting to. And I also want to keep in mind what Brian was trying to explain. The replacement fund. The reason we have a replacement fund is for exactly that. For some of those items that we're talking about that come out of the reserve fund, the reserve intended to do that. It's intended to be spent on fixing up, replacing that's now 25 years old. So I've had some comments about people, well, all this cost and are we spending too much? But if you walk around the fencing, it looks bad. It looks really bad. And the light issue we discussed early on, there's a safety issue there. I believe Pelican Marsh is a premium community. in a premium location, a high-end community. Considering that, and controlled budgets. And so while I believe that we're not overspending, being frivolous on doing this. I believe we're doing stuff that has to be done. And I just wanted to get that out.
It's been probably deferred a little too long. And if we're keeping up with here, we really need to clean the place up. So, all right. So a motion. Yep.
Question, I guess. So the landscaping we're talking about, is it in any way going to be compromised with all the building expansion? I don't want to put in new shrubbery and then have it get trounced by trucks coming and going, or we're okay as far as spending it once and not having to replace it in a year and a half.
It's nowhere near where this is going to be. It's all in the front entry coming up to the pro shop, and it stops where the restaurant entrance is. So completely out of the way.
You may recall it's putting a nice around the restaurant and then a nice entranceway as you come from the parking lot towards the.
And then around the fire pit to kind of make that
Yeah.
nicer.
Finally getting rid of all those.
So motion. Brian, can you? All in favor? Aye, okay.
Can we just clear, what was the dollar?
70,000,
Yeah.
270.
up to 70. Discuss, we don't have any design review requests. Any final board member? Okay, resident comments?
Gene Nowak from Watercrest. I'm not going to belabor this, but a comment containing so much water when they were taken down. I think that should be investing typical of that light fixture, because it may not rust if you've got aluminum up there. Of the water may bring the pole down at some point if it's not designed to be that way.
Good point.
Holes actually are normally drained. They usually have drain holes so that and water from getting in, it's going to get in, but they should drain.
There should be a drain.
There should be a drain or
I saw another hand go up over here.
Next thing look from Tiburon. I don't know, up until this year, visitors coming through our neighborhoods, it is out of control right now. I don't, and I know I'll be talking to him tomorrow. But
What kind of,
there's
mean
a
door
kid
to door?
Kid walking around trying to sell winch. There was a pest control person that last Saturday.
I had that pest control.
The last month, it's been out of control. Gross windows as well. Selling windows.
any comments there?
So I don't know how the pest control guy can come in because he's probably servicing somebody else in the community. But we need to take away his ability to come in here if he's gonna service the 40 people.
Well, for any resident that gets a solicitation they didn't ask for or whatever else, please give that to me and I will call the company directly and let them know that that if they continue that they will be barred from the gate coming in.
Well,
Aren't even suppliers, vendors to our community.
can we bar people from coming in? Bar?
No, but what Paul is saying is, if somebody came and solicited you, you get their information, let him know, stop doing this.
Before. CDD cannot stop people from coming in. It's a county public road. So what we can do is check, so they can go on the boulevard once. I mean, you can put no trespassing signs and everything else and you can go after them. But there's nothing we can come in. And
So-
so in essence, okay, because it happened to us too. You know, So, yeah, so. What's that sign? Who do we call? Do we call district patrol or do we call the town? Because we can't arrest anybody. I mean, we're not even that, if it's trespass, take action. And I'll state that tomorrow at the next meeting. But people from coming in, and so, yeah, exactly what's happening is, there's two things that are happening. Replacing a window, going next door, knocking on the door and asking, hey, can I do that? Obviously, they're not supposed to be doing that. I can't control it, the CDD. Yeah, I can come in here because I know I can, because there's a way for me to get in, meaning I'm here and then I'll drive into every neighborhood. We can't stop that in terms of CDD. I mean, that's in pretty that you have, you should post a sign. It doesn't have to be big. There's something small. Something saying no trespassing, but I'll get that information of what needs to happen. And that if somebody does that, you can just call the police. Don't call us because we can't do anything.
Thank you.
Through the houses.
The resident comments to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Very much, thank you.
So Joe, we should have an open workshop that people are welcome to
Yeah,
stay.
you're welcome to stay. We're actually gonna have a
Brian Poland, wants to stay. So we need to be on the list.
Yeah, Brian told me.
He's on our. On the.
President, isn't it? President.
You sure you don't want to listen in, take notes?
She's.
So we said. And I'm.
Luckily, I do.
Okay, I said with an Irish and.
Yeah.
Fan. I mean, I can, but I'd have to work. I could never get that. Every day.
When I was a kid, I didn't have to wear sunscreen or any of that stuff. It was just.
Yeah.
But these days, you know, I don't know,
Well-
right? Sun or
The lesson that. you
whatever
taught
it is,
was
I didn't
to
learn.
celebrate.
I
Yeah,
don't care.
well,
Especially that.
so we need that mindset.
30 years old. Building was 20 years old. Just the deteriorates.
Yeah.
Eats everything.
Like, if you look at those things, most. How is it something?
You can see how it goes. Numbers are coming up.
Do you think it's the clay?
Clay doesn't have nothing. Of course, the sleeves around the line, so out there, you see, all the sleeves around the bottom. First bottom. Okay, back forward, that was surprised to see. It's back to what we were.
They can sue you for anything. Once you hit the board. Now there's a problem.
That's just telling me, did all the light fixtures and the.
That's why.
That's great.
I got this back.
Really important.
We've got
You have to bet me
Did
seven.
the study for nothing. It was off the board. I took the light bulb.
You already showed.
And I bought the fixtures you put.
The lights off.
Oh,
But this corrosion is bad. I wonder if aluminum will also.
Corrode, then it's got oxidation.
Everyone, if you go out there, you can see both.
Hard to tell. I used to give lessons. Yourself.
Field levels, you just. I don't, space, top of it, if you're gonna do the fence. Because they gotta bring the equipment in here to move that stuff around. They're gonna take a section of the fence down.
Could we just cut the old poles off, leave those foundations in the ground, put a new foundation beside?
Except that if you're gonna get the right kind of light distribution from the fixture you're gonna use.
Yeah, we could start. Foundation rather than tearing up all that.
Understand that, if you talk about moving this pole. That pole's coming.
Yeah.
You better get it analyzed.
That's right.
Okay, because. Cover so that they overface.
Right.
Illumination.
Okay, we got,
Sure.
have all night.
Right?
What's that?
You want to talk about the list?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the list. Sort of 26, 27 goals. Uwe, I'm sorry, but you probably. Some of your terminology, I'm gonna, you've agreed. Add some
Yeah, I
technical.
took sentences and turned them into a single word.
Yeah.
More people should do that.
I don't know who wants to lead this. I don't necessarily do. For our secretary, you can take us through it.
So we had a number of biggest, you had a big list of stuff that you had
And
brainstormed.
all I did was grab everybody else's. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was collective.
And I actually think this requires some organization. Right, over the next little while, we probably want to do it together with budgeting as well. If something is a reserve item, put it under reserve. If it's capital, reserve or capital, sort them by who's going to take the lead on them, which is your comment, Brian. And some of these may fit into different categories. A lot of it, more or less the way you had it on your list, the way you had grabbed it and put it, requires some organization.
Okay.
So I think the building is the easy one.
Because we just talked about it and approved it, right? You said,
Right. The parking related to the building exemption.
across the street, right? Yep.
Right.
Okay.
It's have the golf agreement. The golf agreement is the agreement with the golf course.
Correct.
2.5 million is, should that be 3 million now, or does that include there's 3?
The items 1 and 2 together are 3 million.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Discussed together and separately.
Separately.
So
Yeah. I like it, it's fine.
Yeah, if you want. Can we just indicate that the lead on items 1 and 2, to me, would be the bill? Or you could just put Keith, one or the others.
Okay. I put facilities, a bunch of stuff in there that have come up. Now, is the right overall heading to talk about this? One of them is the phase 1 landscape plan. $1 a few minutes ago,
Right.
The interior design reno, that's if we do the building renovation, that we would also space in the building.
No, we actually are scheduled to renovate this ball community center expansion. So
Or a reserve, basically.
that's right. Instead of doing that this summer, if we are doing the expansion, we don't want to put new a nice look and feel. To me, the next step with that is with some interior designers so that we have a clear vision of what holistically and the rest of the facility is going to look like.
So it
Either
flows.
Yeah, either with the expansion or I think Paul's started engaging some designers and tweak her
Fine, second.
and we're gonna both be there. Is there anybody else? I think you guys are out of
I'm actually
town.
traveling next week.
You're out of town, you're out of town.
Yeah.
Anybody, what's the date?
Second.
April 22nd?
Yes.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
But I think as a goal of what we want to build towards, I just want a roadmap. It might take us. Just want to, what are we working towards? What do we want the look and feel? I mean, that new room was gorgeous, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I showed it to Karen. She's like, well, we haven't really reviewed it or anything, but
I
that
thought
sure would be
I thought
nice.
it looked really cool, yeah.
Nice when you want that to look here,
Right,
so.
right.
When you are talking to those designers, we have a meeting with provides them three. More of a ballroom feel, or the fact that if you have a ballroom. Galas, you can use it for a restaurant, but we have to move the inside, parties inside. And you can still have meetings, you still pay cards in there, it doesn't make a difference, but when you have. Into a meeting room. To either be entertained or to eat or whatever. Meeting. And so I think that when we're talking to designers, we want to try to make this. You feel not just a room that you can put people in, have it more of a. You can still do everything that we do now, if it was a little bit more, I don't use the word fancy. A little bit more professional and a little bit more.
Yep.
Scale to the fact. That,
Yeah.
You're gonna spend that money, think about how it's spent, I think that's important, because you saw these. And the difference is that we had the ability to move them inside, but how many people would want. Regular basis or when inclement weather comes through, I mean, if you're gonna do it so that it's more.
Everything from lighting, acoustics, temperature control, how we control the thermostats, if we able to control new thermostats, via phone or whatever, but all those things.
And then the question is, are we gonna keep this? The dark wood, are we gonna turn that white? Is it gonna be lighter and brighter and more fresh? This is 25 plus years old. I mean, all those things.
So is this something we would use the design committee to help us with?
No. I don't think so.
Just a consultant, interior design consultant?
I think we go professionally to interior designers.
I think the experience we've had is that they're fine for what we're asking them to do, but maybe not in terms of designing an entire facility, not the right people to talk to.
We've actually put things on that plate and then we've had to do it ourselves. So I think putting it in there, we're probably gonna have to drive this from a board perspective and hiring some professionals to give us some examples that we can choose from.
I think the only thing that makes this place not look like a ballroom, so to speak, when we have a party inside is the furnishing.
That's what I was thinking.
And I don't know what we can do about that, right? Because, you put tablecloths on these tables and they look like meeting room tables, right? So.
I mean, I think it's everything, George. It includes that, but even, do we want carpeting or
Carpeting.
nice laminate?
Do you want
Do we
laminate,
want to
hardwood-
lighten up?
hardwood
What
looking
kind of light
floors?
fixtures? I mean, all of that. Do we want to stare at a curtain or do we want that to be, hidden away?
Yeah.
Designer, interior designer or commercial interior restaurant?
No, they're the same designer that put together the golf club.
Oh, is that who we're using?
That's who we're meeting with.
But we're not totally.
No,
Yeah.
I understand, but if you've seen the golf club, it's
It
amazing.
is nice.
They did a nice job.
It's,
They did.
no one, I have heard no one,
Complain,
usually
no.
we have
It looks
complaints.
beautiful.
It
yeah.
does
Only had to
look
spend
beautiful.
$7
But
million.
the amount of money they spent was a little bit more
Well, that
than we have.
includes-
budgeted.
So for the purposes of getting through these items, I think we should say, are we all in agreement? This is something we want to do? And then who's the owner? And then, if we talk in detail about each one, we'll be here till 7.
So the landscape plan, the 70K, who's the guy? Paul?
I think so. I think once it's approved, that's for Paul from an execution standpoint.
Yeah.
And so this interior building rental stuff, that's what I meant by that. In thinking your write-up, it was more The discussion was more about if we do the building expansion and we do this, let's do it together. Well, that's that item. So who
Yes,
wants to?
but are we in agreement that we should have a blueprint of what we want the community center to look like, either with the expansion, without the expansion, before we spend money to renovate?
Yes,
Is there a budget?
that's why we're bringing somebody in, right?
So is there a budget in the new building for the design of that?
Do we have a replacement? What's our replacement cost for doing this?
The ballroom and lobby over the next several years, we have approximately $320,000 set aside.
Wow.
That does not include, well, that's the lobby as well. That doesn't include any furniture fixtures for the activity room, which is quote unquote in that $3 million. We have like, $500,000 of,
Furniture, fixtures, equipment?
thanks, yeah. Yeah.
And who would lead that?
So once again, are we all in agreement that we should have a blueprint of what we want the community center renovations to look like? I don't want to assume that everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, and I think there's two pieces to it. I think that one piece is the design of that. And it
Yes.
seems to me that whoever designs the new building space should also design
Coordinate with.
the renovation for this.
At least coordinate so they look the same.
Correct.
They flow.
Right. So,
We can't do the one without the other.
No.
Well, we
So
we
is-
could because we still need approval of this. If this doesn't get approved, we're still gonna do this.
Yeah.
But if we get approval for that, we're probably gonna hold off on this so that when that's done, then we bring somebody in. So
Carry it over.
now it's a whole carryover.
Yeah.
We've got,
Flow.
it should all, yeah, it doesn't want, we don't want it looking choppy.
Okay, so we want to identify we want to work towards a consolidated interior design this year,
Right.
either for the ballroom or the ballroom plus the expanded building. And do we want to assign a lead on that to kind of work with Paul to get that done?
Well, I'm on the long-term planning. Should that be me along with the subcommittee?
That's fine.
Okay, all right. And I'm happy to have others. You're gonna be there at the meeting with me, so I don't wanna
Happy to-
fly alone.
No.
So why don't we put Denise and Joe as the lead on that?
so in other words, we're putting this in the basket with the building subcommittee. Okay, I think that's a good idea.
We've got some more minds in there that can be involved with that, yeah.
We're already talking about the design for the new space. And since we all want it to look the same,
Yep.
it makes sense to discuss it all together, right?
Who's the building subcommittee? Did we pick those people?
Yeah, we've got a subcommittee.
But the building subcommittee is Keith, right?
Well, no, there's a group of.
No, there's a group of people in that subcommittee.
Okay.
Fiona, Patrick. I mean,
Oh, right.
okay, as long as we're in
Joe?
agreement that we need a blueprint before we spend any money, that's
Yep.
all I care
Yep.
about.
Design, yeah.
And you're taking all the good notes here, right?
I'm taking some notes.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll
You
be
can push it back out and all of us can.
single
revise.
words, right? Single words.
Single words. But once you get this, you could kick it back out to us and we can make sure that our notes here jive with your notes.
Absolutely.
Utility crossing overflow parking, that's that piece over there. So there's been discussion about changing the way vehicles come into that. Right now, the carts come across and then do a big S-turn to get behind the tennis courts and down to the golf course.
So Brian, Keith, myself and Paul went over there and took a look and that driveway runs right up alongside of there. And the issue would be that if some car's coming in there and somebody's walking right off of that thing, right around the bush, somebody could get hit.
You could feel when a truck goes
Yeah.
by there, I was sitting there, you could feel the car,
So-
yeah.
I don't think anybody disagrees. I didn't see anybody jump on that with a disagreement, but I think the only thing that we were saying is that we should look into this. Let's address it right after we get the vote on May
Yes.
14th, right? That was kind of our thing. So I think that's a higher up on the list of priorities and Keith, will leave that in your bucket to
Do we
drive
need
that
any
one.
I
approvals?
can do that, or,
So
Yeah.
basically a new curb cut.
yeah, I think we want to move that down about 100 feet.
Yeah,
Toward the
it's-
bridge, not so close to the bridge that it becomes a visibility issue at the bridge, right? You want to have separation there to provide some lines of sight. But at the same time, it needs to go that way to get.
So
away
who
from-
else would we need to get involved in that? Bob, or do we have to go back to the golf course?
It's
Bob, for sure.
I was just gonna say, you might
It's
get.
golf.
It's all
in the
that
county that
PDD
use-
property, that whole curb cut going across the road is,
That
Yes.
section is CDD property, but the major portion of that entryway to that path is on our property. But,
But the island, cutting across the islands is gonna
but Mike,
end the county.
but you've got to get the golf course to agree, because by moving the entryway down 100 feet, so when they come across Pelican Marsh Boulevard from their maintenance facility, go straight across right to that pathway, now they have to cut across and go against traffic for a few 100 feet before they enter.
I think Keith was suggesting that, we move their exit as well.
Right across. the road.
Where if you look at it, they have the big shed doors, so it's almost like it would land right where those big shed doors are on their maintenance building.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, keeps, ideally it'd be straight across, but I
Yeah.
don't think you can, so it'll be something.
A little jagged,
but
yeah.
but Paul.
BD, worth looking into.
Yeah, it's worth looking into, and I think what we said was we want to table this till after, because we want to get the community approval first, and we don't want to go talk to the Pelican Marsh Golf Club until we get, yeah, we've got this agreement in place, let's let the dust settle, and then after we get the community to approve, then we go back and deal with this, which is a matter of weeks.
Yes. Now, to be honest, I've talked with Bob Giannetti because I wanted some input from him
that's
on
fine.
it already, so he knows we're talking about it. He's very much in favor of it personally.
Good.
I don't know what hurdles we're gonna have to get over to make it happen, but he's aware of the fact that we're talking about.
Well, and you and I and Brian are around all summer, and you're around all summer, so this is something we can work through.
Yeah.
Over
Like I
the
said,
next few months.
Like you mentioned, Joe, I just think let's not push it too hard till we get moving with our parking lot across the street, but let's get all the facts and lay it all out.
So we should be working towards it, yeah.
Got
Yep,
it.
okay,
And there's no budget for this at this stage, right?
no, we don't know how much it would cost or anything.
Yeah. The next is the pickleball north, I call it the PB, meaning pickleball north seating area. This has come from a few different places. It came out of discussions with the sports courts committee, came out of something you raised at one of the board meetings, Frank. So the question was for a water fountain and a canopy, and there was even some budgets floated around by you, Brian. You said.
So
For
we
135
met,
for the other?
the four of us, I'll say again, went over there and we took a look, and just visually, we would. Paul, do you want to kind of describe it? You're talking about,
Where we're gonna relocate the hedge that backs up to that patio. Push it out towards
Towards the
Marsh
sidewalk.
Boulevard about maybe 5 feet to kind of push back the large the patio up a little bit. And then I'm going to get proposals to put a canopy over that larger area, as well as do a smaller narrow canopy down the more narrow portion of the
Right, sitting.
patio seating area for permanent shading. And then we can also add a water fountain back there too at that point. So. I'll
Are
get
you gonna
those-
finish the floor or the back walking area back there? Or are you gonna keep it, which is mulch and leaves and whatever? You're gonna extend the walkway, I
I
guess.
can't extend it that way because that's where all the sub irrigation for the courts is housed. I can't move that irrigation.
And you don't wanna move it, you could put it on the other side of it maybe to give it more a complete look?
we went back there and took a look at it, and there's only like a little triangular sliver there that's over on the other side of that wall.
Yes.
And
Again,
we've got all kinds of water and everything else. I mean, we could certainly look at it, and when we find out it's $135,000, we can all do, but to me, I went back there, and what you guys are looking for, there's just a little sliver of leaves there, along with a couple pipes.
If it rains, I literally not ruin,
Why would you go back there?
to get a ball.
Well, why don't we buy you 20 more balls? Why just leave the ball?
Yeah.
What's a ball's
Well, you got.
$1.25, you know?
Yeah, but you gotta clean them up. You just can't leave them laying around. It's
Yeah.
an optics look too. I mean,
So we'll have staff go back there at the end of the day or.
Yeah, we could go back there and collect the balls. I think the bigger issue is you guys are looking for seating area, you're looking for canopy, you're looking for a long plank seating area, but I mean, we could certainly look into that, but it sounds to me like that's a lot of money for what it's worth. You know, if you got a ball that goes back there, have.
I
somebody
think the
back there
key
get the
though
ball.
is that if we're in agreement to scope it out
Yeah,
and come up with estimates for different solutions and see if we can do it or not.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's worth a goal
It's
to
worth
look
a
at.
look. It's worth a
I
look.
don't know if, at one point someone was talking about, moving those hedges, if that would buy you any space or not. But I think
We should look at all that.
we should look at it.
Should look at the whole
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
look at the
If it
whole
makes
thing,
sense.
and then if it makes sense, it makes
Sure.
sense.
So
Whatever.
who owns?
And does this tie together with relocating the curb cut for the carts? Because that cart path
Not
right now
really.
goes right.
They just happen to be close
They're
together.
kind of two separate issues.
Separate issue.
One thing I think you should look at there too is, I noticed the other day, I was watching, from the tennis courts, I was watching pickleball and I noticed some people sitting under it. There's a lot of nice shade. There's two big live oaks right there. And there's a lot of nice shade all the way till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now the sun comes back around the other way, so there probably does, you probably get sun on it the other way, but I wouldn't just throw a canopy up there right away because you've got to, look at the angles and everything and those nice, live oaks that are right there and they're down kind of low. I don't know how that's gonna look.
The
or
issue
how it's gonna
is,
work.
George, that they're on the north side, so the sun in the morning
Yeah,
comes up
the
and it's
morning.
really intense from about 8 o'clock in the morning till about 11 or 12.
Oh, so I missed that part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you came in.
Be
a different time of
there
day.
at 8 o'clock tomorrow
Yeah.
morning.
During the morning and-
So,
So
so I-
who's the right person here?
so I guess what we're talking about here, and we're still on the north seating and the water. You're gonna get a whole diagram and a costing so that we can look at that.
However, we said that whatever estimates we have, we want a design document.
Yeah.
That the court sports committee has reviewed and has signed off on that, yes, this delivers our need,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we want to make sure that we go through the process,
Proper.
right? So I do think somebody on the board should own making sure that that gets done.
Well, that would be, you.
Sports courts liaison?
Absolutely.
So you're the guy that's gonna come up with the design, the cost, and work with Paul.
Perfect. That's great.
All right.
Keep in mind the bushes, line of sight for exit. Because you could create a situation when people are pulling out, you can't see.
Yeah, I think if anything, we're gonna remove, not necessarily add a lot more, Dino, is the thought, because there's actually 2 rows of shrubs there now. I can never get the name of these things right, but anyway, the bigger ones will probably remain along the sidewalk at the current height. No, there's already a line there if you walk along there. That's the thinking anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Next is the hitting wall. Pickleball hitting wall. And we're just talking about pickleball, we're not talking about
We're
tennis?
talking about both. No, it's both. It's both. It's both.
Okay, good.
I
Oh,
think
wait a minute,
I think 2 years ago it came out of tennis, and when we talked about it, tennis, pickleball said, we'd love a wall too, so it's kind of like, it would be both.
So it would
Not
have
one
to
or
be
the
a
other.
would have to be a hard court then.
No. We're talking about just a hitting wall,
Yeah, but if you have a
Well,
wall, when it bounces off the archer, is it gonna bounce?
just like it would.
I think George is saying, are we looking for a single wall to serve both purposes or multiple walls?
That's what I was gonna.
So conceptually, you can put a wall between the pickleball court and tennis court 3 that serves both purposes. I don't know that really is the right
Oh.
answer, but I think that's,
I thought we were looking
Yeah.
at 2 walls, even if they were back to back in between the fence, we'd put one up here, one up here.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I would just say that, at least from a tennis perspective, the time to think about it is as we have this fencing discussion.
So Frank, can we put that on your plate to work with the committee and with Paul to get estimates to see what it would cost and where we would put them and everything else?
Whether it's 1 or 2, yeah, absolutely. I'll take it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we're
okay.
talking about 2 hitting walls.
We should add,
One in
yeah,
the pickleball court area and one on a tennis court.
Correct.
so that we are talking about 2 separate walls now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll.
Not necessarily.
It could be
If
the
you come
same
back and
wall.
say you could deliver it by putting a single wall, that's good.
Fine.
You know, whatever you
Yeah,
say is the
let's say,
solution.
what court
That's
is
not
it?
gonna
Is it
bounce on the hard.
3 or 2? What's the court that divides pickleball and tennis?
2.
2.
So it would be 2. If we could put up one wall that you could hit both sides
Sure.
on, probably take down the fence in that area and put one wall up, maybe we, instead of spending 20 and 20, we spend 20.
Maybe, I mean,
I don't know.
Would it be up?
it's a possible solution, but I I'm also concerned about running into it, just being a reckless player.
Again?
But Frank, whatever you come up with,
Just
you know,
don't break it, okay?
yeah, yeah.
It's to buy Brian a neck brace.
I'll just say that as definitely in favor of looking into as we come back with, possible
We're gonna have to
numbers.
prioritize.
It might be something that we say, once again, if we live within like 100K capital budget environment
Right.
until we get, the expansion done, it might be 2 years down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
I just think it's good to have these on the list because then all of a sudden we sell 150 homes one year. We go, wow, we got the hitting walls. Okay. I have no idea what they cost, but I was shocked when the number came back. I can't remember what it was. I thought it would be like
Well,
some
there's a
plywood or
big-
something.
There's a big range depending on what you decide to go with, yeah.
Right,
Okay.
materials.
Oh, one other thing before we get past facilities, and I'm glad Dino's here. We were sitting there the other day. And this happens every day, especially if you're somebody that sits at the bar and courtside, is at the end of the day, when the sun is setting, it is so bright and hot right at the corner of that bar, and it comes all the way in that you almost want to move for an hour. And I would like to see us look into a couple of things, because these have been mentioned to me, is an awning a retractable awning that you could put down in the afternoon that would help us from that sunlight coming into the bar in the afternoon.
But we have those screens that can.
Screens, but the issue is that you want the screens up if it's nice weather out.
You want
and
to be
then
able
you're
to see out,
blinded.
you just don't want to be able to, you don't want that hot sun to hit down in the ground right in front of the bar.
There's also a mechanical or actually functionality, when you have the awning that's retractable, or even fixed, I don't know how it'll code, but if your proper pitch is going to stop the sun reflecting all of the area, including the tables that are there. But also what it does is gives you a balance. The tables, any of the tables that are inside of the bar area, it rains, you're getting wet there. True. So it happens that if you have an awning, whether it's 6 feet, 7 feet, whatever it is, it gives you a cushion area where that's utilized, which means revenue made on those tables. And so it serves multiple purposes by having some kind of an awning. Mostly it's because of light, sun is just blinding to anyone who's this way. On the west side. At the table or at the bar, you're getting blinded.
And that's your seat over there on that side of the bar.
It's back.
So along those same lines, and I don't know if I'm just putting this out there. I'm not recommending it. I'm just putting it out there for discussion because it's brought to my attention. Is the same thing along the side of 6. We've got the awnings because we got the sails on the other side. Does it make sense for us to look at putting a retractable awning over 6? Or are we fine with tables with umbrellas? I don't know.
You mean along the building here?
Along the building.
I don't know if can we get them low enough when the sun is down?
I don't know. And I don't know if
She has
it's,
nice shade.
I don't know if
right
it's
there, right till
worthwhile
that one-
because, in the morning,
It's
you're
beautiful.
really kind of shaded
Yeah,
and you
it's
don't need
lovely.
them. In the afternoon, the sun's beating right in your face. I don't know that it would shade you.
I don't think
So-
it would. I think that was brought up by members of the community when we decided to put that patio there.
Yeah, and I'm just addressing it to say it's an idea. I don't even know if it's worthy of us going, but we should probably look into it to see if it even makes sense.
But I thought that's why we had put the seating on the other side.
Right.
We did put the seating on the other side, but there's seating over here too.
So this is the morning seating and that's the afternoon seating.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
Wow, we are high class.
So maybe we don't need it. I just wanted to get it out there.
Okay. You want me to add that on?
Just add it, and then we could say we discussed it and we decided that it,
So,
A yay or nay, yeah.
so we have 2 topics just came up, an awning around the bar. Is that something we want to work towards during this year or not?
I'd like to just see, I would like to look into it. If it's a phone call, to have somebody tell us what it would look like, how much it would cost, so that we at least have, it's a simple phone call and having somebody come out and look at it.
I mean, I will say the long-term planning committee had a concept where they extended out covering without walls in the corner right outside this door And we shot it down from the perspective, like, we're overwhelmed with just getting the building
Right,
done.
and Peter keeps
Um,
asking every time we get together.
So I don't know if that's a conflict or this, trying to solution the same item or not.
I think he's been in, it's a combination, yes.
By erecting a box there with retractable, it solves one of the problems with the sun or this facing, but it doesn't this one. The one that sits at northwest, that would still be a problem. The expanded seating area that we covered, that the way the picture of the roof, because you're not gonna go out, and probably some kind of an awning similar to what we have here, right, windscreen or whatever it is, would probably cover the amount of sunlight that's going this way, but it will not, the northwest, it will not do anything for the northwest. It ends right at that top, that post.
So we could just relocate courtside to the east side of the building.
Where the playground is. So you want to pursue the awning?
I want to just put it on the list. I'll own it because I'm on the long-term planning subcommittee. Well, Keith's going to be there too, but let's just put it on there. You can put my name next to it and then I can,
The courtside awning.
the courtside awning and this other thing that Peter's been talking about.
Okay, that's a third item. How about the court six? Out here.
What along the
I
building?
just don't, I'm just saying we put it on there as an item that we can then say we discussed it and we checked it off. I just don't know if it's worthy of us doing that.
So we'll just defer that for this year's discussion
Yeah, we're
and
not,
leave it on
yeah,
the list and
yeah,
pull it
just
up
put it on
next
there
year.
as an item. We got so many other things that's gonna get pushed to.
And can I put that awning along the building under court sports with Frank?
Sure. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because Chris is the one that keeps mentioning it to me. And once we have a discussion with him to say, I don't think there's an issue with the sun at the times in the morning and in the afternoon, people can go on the other
They
side.
go, yeah.
It also depends on the time of the year.
Yeah, you have to get Chris to make a donation.
Put his name on
Okay,
it.
so we added three things. Is that true?
Or an awning related to courtside, an awning related to court sports for the, on the
Court
west
six.
side, west side of the building for court six.
And I heard bringing back the concept of expanding the court sides, covered seating area.
Covered seating area, yeah.
Much of what we have on the back patio next to bocce, where we took the awning, we put a roof on it to extend the patio out so it's covered. The same kind of thing will be constructed out here.
For courtside. Okay.
Yep.
And the court six or east side seating, we've deferred till, is that
We can talk about it again in a year from now.
very good?
Maybe somebody could put that on the plan so we know where we're talking about.
Okay.
On court sports, I have item 5. Let's skip item 4 for just a second. Under item 5, also related to court sports, somewhere on that list was a pickleball expansion long-term plan.
Yeah, that was mine actually. And so my motivation for this, for all of us, is we look at the trends in pickleball, it continues to go up, right? And I think it's a reasonable thing to expect that it will continue to do that as new people come in. We're selling more houses than we typically have. A lot more people are going to be interested in playing pickleball. I'd like to have a plan in place that 3 years from now, 5 years from now, we can have some ideas on what we do at that point. I don't want to get back to the situation where it's a we they thing and we're arguing amongst ourselves about how do we address the pickleball need or demand. I'd like to develop a strategy and a plan that we can all get behind and start to communicate, socialize with the community so that, you know, in 3 years from now, when we need to do something, which I think is inevitable, we kind of have it thought out and socialized with the community in a way that it's not going to be a, oh my God, no.
And just to add to that, Brian and Keith and I met the other day for just 20 minutes before we met with the executive committee, and we just kind of threw out some different ideas. And so we probably need option A, option B, so that we've discussed these rather than people just coming up with ideas. We should get them down. You know, Chris has thrown out, tear the pro shop down and move that and put pickleball courts there. Well, maybe that's an option. Maybe we should look at it. It's probably $1 million plus. The other option might be looking for parking space somewhere around here so that we can expand move more pickleball courts over, move the driveway over, that sort of thing. So I think what you're saying, Keith, is we should continue to every year analyze this, but have in our back pocket, what happens if we need this down the road? What direction would we go?
That's all.
How much would it cost?
Mhm.
How
Have
would
some
we plan
ideas,
for it?
options develop so that we can evaluate them as a committee or
Yeah.
a board and decide, what makes the most sense.
Pickleball obviously is like this. Johan and I looked at some figures in his office, Monday, whatever, yesterday. And you're right, the obvious thing is we don't want to be caught behind the eight ball. There's courts going up everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
So I think we all
it's something to
agree.
Stay on top of.
Let's put together a plan and maybe we.
Proactive instead of reactive, for
Yeah.
sure.
That's exactly.
So number one, why is this limited to pickleball? Why is this not looking at evaluating what our long-term court sports needs would be?
Can be. I just want to make sure that just gets included.
That's my first point. My second point is I'm just concerned that this will continue to nurture the combative environment that we've been trying to dissipate over the last couple of years. So I think we just have to be cautious of how we
Communicate.
this and how we look at this. I believe this is an open session, so I would think that the notes of the session would be shared with the community. So I think it's important that we're all on the same page in terms of this doesn't mean to say that we're looking to add new pickleball courts next year. But we're just looking to see what options might we have 5 years down the road. I think as long as we communicate it that way, and once again, could be for, what's that new racket?
Paddle.
Yeah.
Padel, they call it, paddle.
Paddle.
PAD.
Right. I think we cover ourselves a little bit and take away opening ourselves up to criticism.
Yeah.
Well, it should start with us. It should start with us, people on this board, that if any negative aspects come about, we should quell it. Squell it, whatever the word. It's.
And how do we do that?
Yeah.
Well, you stay positive and again.
All you have to do is say, yes, we're thinking about it. We've got some plans.
Yeah.
When that day comes, we've got things that we've got options.
Not just because I play both, but when I hear the negative on both sides, by the way, I just say, well, we have a fiduciary responsibility to do what's right for all our members. And when you have certain numbers and X amount of people playing, like Keith said, that's what it calls for, we would be ignorant and not doing the right thing for our members if we don't look into it and plan for it. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think we're all.
That's why Keith-
Did you want to take on this long-term sports
can help.
expansion item?
I'd like to have, maybe the court sports committee help
Do it.
develop concepts and
I'll help you.
ideas.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm happy to work with them or be part of that.
Okay.
I'd rather not own it only because I got a lot of other stuff.
But I think there needs to be, to Brian's point, we start talking about this now, there's going to be an expectation. When's it going to happen?
Yeah.
And so,
Being asked already,
yeah,
that's the trouble, that's the thing. So if we just say it's in our thoughts.
yeah, thank you, but we're actually thinking the same way you are.
Right.
That's it.
5 years.
But it's also a good point Brian made too, is that if you just word it as court sports, ongoing court sports, reorganization, evaluation,
Yeah.
right? Because that's gonna also affect, parking as.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it all goes together.
There's a trickle down effect with a lot of.
Do we want to adjust the amenities? Well, if we're going to add a more densely packed amenity like pickleball versus tennis, well, now we got to adjust for parking. What do we do for parking?
No doubt.
I think, Brian, your concern is legit, and I think we all have to acknowledge that. And my intent, the spirit of bringing this up is to try to get ahead of that, not to fester the one that existed previously. I'm trying to get.
Right.
Because we talked about it for last year, right? We want to create this sense of we, not
Yep.
you and me or
Yep.
they and them.
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah, I think it's much, much better than it used to be. And I think we have, right now, for what we need, we have the right number of pickleball.
Well, and that was mentioned by the former pickleball advisory chair that we're fine for the next 3 to 5 years, but she didn't know. Because it could double in a year or tennis could double in a year. We don't know what's going to happen. So
Right.
it's something that we have to look at. Okay.
So, which name do we put? So Keith, you said you're pretty busy, right?
Well-
Well, you want me to do it?
I'll be happy to work with anybody. If you want to put it under me, go ahead. I'm only here 3 months, but I can still do it. That's not a problem.
It just doesn't sound like there's a whole lot that has to be done in the next year. It's really just brainstorming.
All of us can little chip into that, but if you
Yeah.
want to put my name next to it, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah, I could,
If you don't mind, I think.
yeah.
Make it a few phone
I
calls,
can
do a
do it.
little research and.
I
get some numbers.
can be alongside of you as always.
Well, the one thing that we do is we're keeping track of everything now. Paul shows us every single month.
Yeah.
So
Great.
it's not like we have to, say, oh my God, let's go figure out how many people are doing this and that. We've got the statistics.
100%.
Just a quick question, regarding parking. How close do the parking spaces have to be to the community center to be considered parking places for the community center?
You can get satellite parking spots. I mean, we looked into a couple of years ago, getting satellite parking spots. I mean, it's,
Getting what parking spots?
satellite,
Oh, satellite, yes.
right? Renting a parking lot a mile away,
Right.
renting.
That's what I was gonna get to, is,
It's a possibility. I mean, it's complicated, but if you read the guidelines of Collier County, they do qualify. You can get, off-site parking spots to qualify.
And I think we have two different kinds of parking issues. The one parking issue we have relates directly to square feet and the facilities we have. So number of parking spots versus square feet. We also have a real physical parking limit at times. So when we put on Pro-Am or we put on major events, or we have too much stuff going on, we don't have enough parking. To me, those two issues are very different. So the special event parking is something that we've managed by putting cars down, along the roadway. We've put cars on.
you need long-term lots like they have for across the street at Tiburon when they have a big tournament or something like that.
So the special event stuff is a little different than the building code requirements. And I think we have both issues. We have people complaining that I came to the community center, I couldn't find a place to park. And we want to be able to address that, but that's not a requirement that affects our.
That happens
expansion
with
plan.
bingo night. That
Happens with
There was
bingo,
people
exactly.
driving around and around all the time. Yeah. No,
I know that for special events, we've started to put cars along the road. And I know we're not supposed to, but.
but they
people-
allow it to happen.
They allow it to happen. The car's got to go somewhere, right? You have an extra 3.
I was really
If we're not doing it on a weekly basis, they allow it right now.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
There's a difference between special events, something that happens like the Pro-Am happens twice a season or
Yep.
so. It's okay to put some cars along the road. The CDD kind of tolerates it, and that's great.
They look the other way for one night.
They look the other
Yeah.
way.
Right.
But if we wanted to create parking, there is a possibility to talk to the CDD about creating roadside parking if we wanted to. The boulevard is wide enough for that, but it would require Bob and the CDD to change their perspective on it.
Well, it's more Collier County.
Well, it's Collier County property, basically, right? So we would be asking whether Collier County would allow basically for us to create public parking along Pelican Marsh Boulevard to count towards our ability to create more pickleball courts or something like that. But it's all stuff we can look at. I mean, we can ask the questions,
It's better than us looking into it rather than saying there's nothing we can do.
We can rent a bus and have Denise pick up people and drop them off at the end of the night.
Here's the thing, that's what I was gonna bring up. I know it had to do with workman's comp, and it was a big pain in the butt, but if we could find a company, when you go to college campuses, they have stuff called, it's SNAP.
It's like shuttles and,
The
yeah.
golf cart type.
Like
thing,
golf cart,
shuttle
right.
service.
Tips and stuff
Right,
like that.
right.
So in season for the second problem, not the county court, as far as for building, if we had some kind of outside vendor, so we're not incurring any kind of liability or any kind of workman's comp, anything like that, we invite an outside vendor that's credible, that has the ability to either run shuttle service that goes either up and down Boulevard, certain ones, create some kind of a pattern so that it eases the pressure of the amount of cars that come up, and we encourage people to walk and ride bikes. But there's just too many people there that we're growing and expanding. This is the center hub. and you're not going to ever accommodate the amount of.
Absolutely. That's been discussed. I know I've heard that before,
Remember,
but that's,
Paul, remember, Paul, that was about 6, 7 years ago, tell workman's comp's like, it's cost an outrageous amount to have a person on staff and the insurance of it.
Even having a third-party company.
as long as the outside vendor's licensed and bonded, you don't want any of that responsibility for sure.
So we,
Yeah.
we actually have over 6,000 parking spots in Pelican Marsh. Most of them are located right in front of people's houses.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So if you actually were to run along that idea, if you just ran a shuttle service within Pelican Marsh,
That was my idea.
You know, on a night of a pro-am, you had a couple of shuttles that ran around and, you know, you knew what time, you knew they were going. You could walk up to the front of Ariel and jump on a shuttle and come up.
That was what I was
And the
saying about the
county-
bus. I was joking, but I was serious. You have something, a shuttle, you go around, pick people up.
That's
drop-
something we
we
can-
had talked about special events, but in terms of convincing the county that we could build more facility without more parking, offering a community shuttle service. No, but I'm saying, would the county accept a proposal that says we cannot create more parking, we physically don't.
But we have a shuttle system.
But we are willing to pay for a full, shuttle system.
Worth putting down on and look into it.
It's something that we could put out.
Maybe it's a lap in his hand to help whoever fixes the problem, and it's intelligent financial move. It might be something that we can completely funded by, you think about it, you get some young entrepreneur that has these golf carts, has proper licensing, they come in, you know what kind of tip money they're gonna make, to pick up people and drop them off there.
Put Dino's name next to that one.
All right,
Okay,
so, do I need to put this parking somewhere?
Well, you have parking traffic under the third bullet under admin priorities.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know if you determined
who
who owns
back
it
to.
into a
I'm
strategy.
gonna put,
Oh, there
I'm
it is.
just gonna put my name for parking.
Excellent.
Oh, no.
Um,
Before you go on, this one that was pickleball expansion, long-term plan, can we retitle that court sports long-term needs analysis or something along those lines so that it's less,
What are you talking about?
just this one here,
Number 5.
number 5. Make it a court sports total long-term needs analysis or assessment or whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
that sounds
You want
good.
it- It's a little broader,
Yeah.
right? Longer.
That's
term.
okay.
So what are we going with?
Sports courts, long-term needs analysis.
One party or the other, it's the whole.
Okay, under court sports, I saw on the court side, we had a couple of other items, long-term strategy beyond subsidy. Who put that?
I did. I was just thinking, how do we get ahead of anything related to courtside, like now the contract is just revenue based, right? And, at some point, if their expenses go crazy, they'll be looking for more. I mean, the only way they make a profit is controlling their expenses. And so I just thought, do we have a strategy that we work with them to, look long-term at,
Get them off the dole?
well, just, so that we're not reacting to something.
It was discussed several years ago, having a liaison to work with courtside on a
Yeah.
regular basis. Last summer, Joe and I kind of took the mantle when we saw their sales declining of, meeting
Met
with them
with them.
several times to
Yeah.
refresh their menus and so forth, but
And
We
the sales
wanna-
went up.
if we want to have somebody, and we also got bands and stuff. If somebody wants to, build a relationship and meet with them on a more regular basis, I'm all for it.
I mean,
So
just
do we
for
have a
example,
liaison?
Equipment.
Yes.
Yes, we own the equipment.
And if they want more, they ask us and.
We own the
we've always
building, we
given it
own
to
the
them.
equipment.
And
They
do
don't
we
pay-
have-
Sales
They don't pay,
system,
they pay us $1.
Okay, and we have a reserve. Do we start building a reserve for the equipment? We do. I just didn't know what oversight we had, and
So is this an item that we should have on here? If so, should there be somebody that is it about building more of a relationship with the court side?
I mean, I don't know that we necessarily need anything super formal. I mean, I actually raised my hand and wanted to do this before and got shot down by a previous board by saying, I think we need a liaison. At least we know who that person is. that we could meet with them, and so that we didn't have 20 people going there and saying, can you put a Reuben on there, and, all that kind of stuff. And, and I got shot down, but I think although it's a legitimate concern, I'm there all the time.
Right.
And so I have a relationship with Susan. I mean,
So maybe that's good enough.
I think it's probably good enough, and it looks like the sales are going up. I wouldn't be surprised, Brian, at the rate we're going now. Do you think that we'll do away with the subsidy after this year?
I mean, Brian budgeted 1.2, which is a zero subsidy, so, yeah.
I think,
I think we're gonna be-
and frankly, it's right now, it's 75, and if we would have had our eye on the ball the last couple of days, it probably would have been 50. And so we could very well see this thing go to 1.2, 1.3, and if it goes to 1.3, we actually get something back.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the direction that
Actually, anything over 1.2, we get something back.
I'm sorry?
Anything over 1.2,
right.
we get back.
Yeah.
Something.
So
This,
do we need those items? Do we then need a person for those
I
items?
think it's probably worthy of us just leaving it on there so that we talked about it, and if we feel like,
signing a liaison.
if we, if we feel like that we see something dipping off in sales, then we probably all should be saying, we probably need a meeting with Susan, like Brian and I did.
There are two items there, long-term strategy and assess community value related to courtside. I'm going to put those both in one item and call it a courtside liaison,
Okay,
and I'll put your name.
okay, fair enough.
So when Susan has issues or requests. does she
Let me
go-
skip 7 for a second.
Well, I thought what we agreed to is that we would just write deferred next to all of item 6 and leave it on the list and look at
Discuss
it
it
again.
later, because we don't really have an
next year.
issue with courtside right now, so I don't want to create a problem where there's not a problem, like, let's go have a meeting, because she'll say, I don't really need a meeting, Joe, so I think that's what issue came up before.
But does she come to you or does she go to Paul when she?
comes to me.
She goes to Paul,
Okay.
but
If he needs equipment, she goes to Paul,
But-
who goes to the executive committee. And Paul would say, hey, we need $5,000 for an expanded refrigerator, which is not something we need full board approval to just do.
yeah. But if there's something that she wants and I'm sitting at the bar, she'll actually say something to me.
I mean, last summer, their point of
She
sale
knows, 'cause she
system,
knows I'm on the board.
their point of sale system was failing. Paul brought it to us. We asked George to look into it a little bit because he has some experience in that area, and we helped them select a new point of sale system.
Which I think they're happy with now, right?
Yeah, they are.
Well, Susan Bride are, I don't know, Barry is.
Thing.
Some people don't like it, some people like it.
Yeah.
And
This is his first cup.
Handheld and.
Items 4, 7, and 8 all relate to sort of administration. So let me put that aside for a second. The one thing I didn't see anywhere on the list was bocce. I know there was a discussion a year or two ago about more bocce, but I saw nothing in any of the comments about bocce. Has there been any discussion from bocce about?
There's people that utilize the court, it's more efficient throughout all the different times of the days and different hours. I'll go, the first person in front of the board asks for a court.
Yeah.
But until then, I don't think it's smart to spend money on a court. That's my opinion. And it may not be popular with a handful of bocce players, but money is exact, I mean, it's, sure, would we like to have 6 courts? But you know what, we work around it, like I said, at a couple of meetings that we've expanded at 5 weeks, we've accommodated 64 teams in 1 year. Okay, we've got some tweaking to do with the buys and figure out better scheduling, but that's, the bottom line is that we feel that in general, when all of the courts are being used more often, different times of the day, because it's just a convenience thing.
And that holds true for tennis.
Well, because it's,
Well, that's really no different than tennis and
Tennis and pickleball
pickleball.
are the same.
Everybody wants 9:30. Well, that doesn't mean build 60 courts so that everybody can play at 9:30 and then you have emptiness.
I was just going to say, we think we should put Dino in charge of pickleball, tennis,
Yeah,
and.
I think you should.
So the other one is 4, 7, and 8, and they're all administrative stuff that I'm going to reorganize into a different basket, but starting with number 4, the first item is review reserve study and safety emphasis. I actually think that item, the way it made it on the list, had to do with the lighting stuff.
It did. It was my way of identifying the polls as an issue to make sure we talked about
Okay,
it.
I'm going to cross that off because I think we dealt with that. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, we will do a new reserve study next year, right, Paul?
Or do you want reserve study on there? as
No,
an
no,
item?
no, we will do a new reserve study next spring after, as part of the 27-28 board.
Prioritize actions and items. That's actually what we're doing right here, right now.
Correct.
So we're going to continue to do that. I'm going to cross that off the list because that's what this exercise is.
Right.
Parking, traffic, safety, I will take that and see, along with the future court sports expansion stuff and try and make something out of that. Court lighting poles and repair, we spoke about that.
That's
Court
140,000
sports.
approved.
Yeah. So I'm going to cross that off. Woodpecker holes, I'm not sure if that's worth being on this list.
That's really a smaller list of a whole bunch of things that we, that come up. That's sort of
Facility maintenance.
facility maintenance
Like
stuff.
bathroom, yeah, right, yeah.
Okay,
right.
I'm going to cross that off the list. Staffing and succession planning, I thought was actually a good one. When it comes to administration, that does involve the board. So there was comments in there about, do we need to look at succession planning and evaluate staff needs? Now, is that not something that the exec committee does sort of in its?
Very
Other than the
informative.
fact that I asked Paul, and I asked Johan, directly, what's your plans? And they both have said they're going to be here at least 4 or 5 more years, right? 5 at least, something like that.
Let's hit the lottery tomorrow, guys.
Yeah,
And we just don't see you here.
Does the board on its list need an item about staffing, succession planning, and evaluating staff needs? Or is this something more for Paul and the exec committee?
no, I think there should be more transparency into the discussions that we are having, at least for the directors, and Paul. Whether it be a liaison or a subcommittee, HR subcommittee, that we actually document that, what this replacement, what's the long-term strategy. If Paul has a vision of, he wants to continue working for 10 years, then we should all be aware of that.
Mhm.
And we should start having the mindset on year 7 or 8 of, what is that strategy? And
Right.
it's really laying the foundation for the next board, not so much us, as opposed to having those discussions. And
As
along
maybe
the
as part
slides-
of the end of the year, when we go through compensation, we should probably look at all of the people, because it's not just Paul and Johan or whatever. We just hired this new ransom, but we have some people that have been here a really long time. The Moniques and the Rachels, I mean, they're really a lot of glue that hold the organization together as well. We should be asking you, Paul, as you go through your year-end review, how are things? Are you plan on being here? And then you should be able to say, this person's Monique's, she's gonna be here for the next 3 years, or, because you're gonna probably start running into some retirement stuff.
We did this at the end of last year, right? Didn't we?
Well, we did compensation, but I don't know that we necessarily talked about succession and how long they're gonna be here or anything
That would be a
like
big.
that.
So,
Right.
based,
Include that in my future reports to the board at the personnel meetings. Not only compensation, but where that particular person or employee stands as far as their longevity, if they're thinking about next year or so leaving, so we can plan for succession.
That would be a logical assignment.
So-
Yeah.
It's an estimation. You
Yeah,
you don't know
yeah,
what
'cause
goes
you
on
don't
in
know what
people's
they're gonna
lives.
do.
Spouse can pass away, but
That's,
whatever.
that's right. You don't know, but it's just kind of nice to know, is anybody planning on moving? And then all of a sudden we have issues like the lady at the front desk, which she was awesome, and hopefully this new person is going to be awesome too,
Or
but.
like our maintenance man that we don't have.
Right.
So
Yeah, there-
this is really, from my perspective, geared towards senior leadership, your directors. If that's a very suitable way of addressing it, Paul, we just want to have the feedback to the entire board of, it shouldn't just be 1 or 2 of us who knows that, somebody's window is 6 or 7 years. I mean,
We should all
might
know.
move on. The board as a whole and tie it to the whole salary review process is fine. So I'm
Once a year, we
comfortable
should-
taking this off,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's just a takeaway from this.
Taking
Yeah.
it off this list.
Mhm.
And you
Yes.
just add it to your list that
Okay
we
with
can have
that?
discussion at that year-end evaluation.
Paul's job, really.
So we're taking it off this list?
Taking it off this list, and it's gonna be combined with
The-
the salary review process.
I have a similar question about the operations stuff. There was stuff in those notes about cleaning, the cleaning model. I guess that means that we're going to hire more staff or use contractors.
Yes.
Cleaning cost and
I think
quality.
we-
I know
I
that.
think we fixed
concerns
that.
About,
Well, we put a Band-Aid on it.
We're in test mode now, a hybrid system, where I have a outside cleaning company coming in overnight and cleaning the facilities, then having on-site staff, personnel, Mercedes coming in and do the more touch-up detail upkeep throughout the day. So that's what we're looking at now.
but what I'm saying is this is really something that's being handled at an administrative level by you.
Right.
Do we really need it on the goals list for the board as an item? Or
I
can
think
it
it's
come
being
off?
addressed by Paul already.
Yeah, I think it's being
that's-
addressed by
that's
Paul.
But if you guys,
The-
you're hearing feedback from membership that we're still falling behind.
We'll let you know.
Well,
So what I'm saying, let me know, because we may need to address.
They will.
Well, we do, it comes to like the fitness committee talks about cleaning.
Yeah. But this
Right,
is
right.
a financial discussion as well. And, similar to that, we made the decision to outsource the maintenance, overnight maintenance of the courts. And what I feel as if we should do is we should be exploring the outsourcing of the maintenance on a daily, during the day of the courts as well, with Francisco leaving. I do believe that we should have a discussion of whether or not that's economically the best way to run the facility.
Is with a contractor or staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, economically, it costs less to have your own employee than outsourcing. It's just cheaper in the long run. However, you run the risk of when you have your own employee, if they call sick a lot or somebody get in an accident, then you're stuck.
And more to
Opposed having
manage.
An outside source where that one person's sick, they just have another person falls in line and does.
Right.
You have the backup.
We've gone through at least 3 different maintenance people, Machete Man and Steve and Frank, right? So there's a point where you have to step back and say, okay, what is the right model that serves the community best? Even if it might be more expensive in the long run, you might actually save money in terms of training turnover and, the community might get
And
more out of
the
it.
hiring process is taking up the time of.
Exactly. If there's a little more money involved, but less stress and less worries, that might be the better way in the long run too.
But just getting back to, this is the goals list, right? This is stuff that we want to accomplish as a board. Is this something that belongs on the goals list, or is this sort of on-term management?
Personally, I don't think it belongs on the list, because I think that's an operations issue that Paul's responsible for.
And the exec committee can take
I
it back
mean,
to the
it's
board and
not a
say, we want to
strategic
change the
board
model of
issue.
the way we do stuff.
We certainly can. Once again, as we get into the budget season, I'm going to want to see numbers that look at both the cleaning service and the maintenance of our facilities in terms of what's the best operational model going forward.
So you want to see something.
If you want to make that part of, ongoing, responsibility, Paul, that's fine. But we are going to come back to this at some point.
So
This has
let me
been an
just
ongoing
rephrase it.
theme. This has been an ongoing theme for the last 2 years.
Okay, so let me just rephrase, I'll leave it on there.
It circles around and
Yeah,
we're
I'll-
thinking we're solving it and then it doesn't get solved. And then we have more people complaining and then we kind of run around and we do something, plug a hole.
Well, and what happens is we end up getting behind on our daily maintenance, and then we hear it from the community that
community.
everything looks like crap,
You
and
just have to
So-
make sure if we hire a third-party company to say, have this person come and do the maintenance
Right.
during the day. There's a lot of specific details that we do that person has to learn how to do. So if we hire this company, they have to have a pool of workers that are also all trained to do it. So if that main person calls off for whatever reason, the person they have coming in knows what to do, because we don't have time to go show them where to go, what to do.
but that'll happen naturally. I mean, the guy that comes in at night to groom the courts, I mean, it's pretty much the same guy night in, night out. Occasionally it's somebody else,
Right.
but that's worked.
I personally think that we should look to see what it would cost to outsource the whole thing so that we can evaluate it. That's it.
Well, we don't want to have that discussion today. I'm
And
just
I'll
trying to
just
figure
get
out, should it be on this list and whose name should be beside it on the list?
Again, that's me, so I will get the numbers, and so again, when we get the budget time, I will have
Let me
those
put-
concepts.
Let me put Paul's name beside it for now.
Paul, do you network with the other
You want- you can
managers
put
in
my
the
name
area,
next to
like, Will Creek, et cetera?
Oh,
so
that's,
forth?
that's okay.
It's
Do you have like
more of a
regular
finance
communication
issue,
that They
but-
do, and
They
They-
have that much money, it's more than the normal.
I look for on-site that way, no? So,
On-site or off-site?
On-site.
On-site.
I don't know why particular position is so hard to fill, we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually, I have to get through this list because I gotta head to the airport.
so you're down to item 7.
We almost at the end?
We're close to the end and I need to be.
Dino, thank you.
Run to the.
Thank you, Dino.
We are.
We're almost
So
done.
let me get to the last few items here. Community outreach, there's discussion about how do we as a board improve community outreach? That is, probably should be on this list, I think, as a goals issue, better community outreach. Do we have somebody here that wants to take on sort of this how do we do a better job as a board communicating with the community? Is that somebody wants to take the lead on that?
the community meaning our members, not
Members, yeah.
Residents.
not neighbors.
Residents.
Residents, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I put it on the list because everywhere I went when I was campaigning for this position, everybody was like, ask me questions. And I'm like, well, don't you read the emails you get? And they don't.
They don't.
They don't, and they don't, you don't.
Well, that's the issue. How can you
Even now,
make
they
them
don't.
read?
Jim does these write-ups and people don't read them.
I asked about the.
I
pay.
was over at Pelican Marsh Golf and I met somebody that lived in Pelican Marsh and I said, oh, I told him who I was. Oh, somebody said, oh, he's the president. I said, oh, have you read you read so yeah, I am the little face that you see on the newsletter. And the guy says, yeah, I've got to admit, I've been here 10 years and I've never read the newsletter. And I'm like, wow, I'm glad I put a lot of time and effort in there. Now, on the flip side of that, I've got people that come up and say, I read the newsletter I can't wait to see it, to see what we're doing in the community. So I don't know how you change people's behavior. Talk about outreach. We had 10 people here,
Mhm.
and they all left. They didn't really care what we're going to talk about. And so I don't know that we definitely need to, I mean, I'm going to try to do things more often.
Yeah.
Meaning like last year, I'm like, I'm going to send a message out at Thanksgiving and say, and people, I got some responses or whatever. But I think it's all incumbent upon us that if we think that there's more communication that needs to be done, like right after the election, I wanted to put together something to get it out to the community because people were asking, whether they be at the pool, the tennis courts or whatever. It's like, so I think there needs to probably be more communication electronically and stuff like that and special events. And so we probably just need to continue to think about that. And if you guys are hearing questions from somebody, shoot me a text or an email and I'll write something up. So there's more communication, but.
So on the
people
flip
don't
side of
read
that,
it.
I get several people, when they find out I'm on the board, tell me, why do I get so many emails from Lynn?
That's right. I get the
So-
same thing. I get pounded every day.
Yeah, and listen, Paul, we've talked about this. There's different categories that you can subscribe to. Like,
You can
I don't
opt
play
in.
bocce, I can opt out of it. I don't play tennis or pickleball, I can opt out of anything like that. I don't think people know that.
People don't know
Number
that.
one, maybe we could send them a little instruction, just a reminder instruction, and you don't even have to make this a special separate email, but like I don't know, something.
Yeah, I know.
So you get comments if there's too much communication, you get comments there's not enough communication, right?
Right, I think it'd be good.
Well, if you think about it, Lynn sends out a lot. I mean, there's some good stuff that are like, sign up for this, and then there's so many emails that I forgot to sign up for something because it's get your bike fixed, get your knives sharpened, get your fish in the parking lot, I
Right,
mean, they're constantly coming out and then you miss the annual party. And the only way I remember it is that somebody says, are you going? And I'm like, oh shit, I got to go look through 20 emails from Lynn, but I don't know how you stop that.
Well, I think, again, if we could look again at this ability that we have, we paid a lot of money for this court system. And,
Yeah.
use it better and let people know how they can use it, how they can set up their own subscriptions and things that they need. And you could put my name on that if you want. I mean, I'd be happy, Paul,
For the community outreach,
to work with you or to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
I'll work with you too on that.
All right.
I put forth that you did.
Put us both
How we
down.
doing?
One more item. And that's oversight. There were a few comments about we should look at how we reconcile funding with planning. By the way, I think that should happen with this piece here. I'll try to put in whether something is capital item, reserve item. And when I see a budget number, I'll make sure I include it. Or if you think I should put budget numbers on some of these, then, please tell me. We should maintain visibility on budgets and timelines. There's one item here called improve residents' experience that actually ties into yours. And then there was something on monitoring risk and safety during construction. I think this related to the building expansion, which I don't think belongs here. But this reconciling funding and planning and maintaining visibility and oversight. Who put that on the
That
list?
sounds like something I would have brought up, and Brian and I had a conversation subsequent to this. I think just a higher level, and I know there's a chart that he included, because he poked me in the eye with it the other day. So, we've got these things that are planned. It's part of the reserve funding that we've got in place to carry on, maintenance of the facilities longer term. And then some of these other capital projects, where do they fit in for me, I like to think on a 5-year time horizon, right? I like to be thinking 3 to 5 years. So what is it we're gonna do? When are we gonna do it? And how we're gonna fund it? And where's the money coming from, right? So that it's all pulled together in a single visual that we can all reference and look at together and go, okay, so we've got $500,000 set aside to do X or Y or whatever. It's really more of a one pager, almost like a Gantt chart on timing and when we're gonna do the things that we're talking about, and then when we're gonna fund them and how's that money gonna be made available. So that's what I was thinking.
So it's part budgets,
Work with Brian,
part budgets and part plans and goals, right?
Yeah, it's really just a 5-year plan.
An overview
What
of
we're gonna
what
do,
we're
and
gonna do.
how much it's gonna cost and how we're gonna fund it.
Sure. I mean, what I shared with Keith the other day was the fact that we presented in January, what the replacement reserve looks like for the next 5 years to the community. The capital items are a little more difficult because we don't know what capital items we're going to approve. Other than going to this year, we knew we had a 2-year landscaping plan that had a high probability that we're going to do. Certainly, if we come back and we identify we want to spend 50,000 for a pickleball viewing area, or we want to do, an awning and something like that, we could slot that into, what a plan looks like. As I've mentioned, I've done a 10-year spending analysis, looking at the full $3.1 million replacement funds and putting a placeholder for paying back the building loan and $100,000 of capital items per year, which predominantly funded by, resale fees. So I guess I struggle, what else you need besides that?
I think tying into this goals piece, like you said, the capital items, you don't know what they are. I think the goals will help us figure out which capital items we get excited about and want to do, right? And once we know what capital items we want to do, we can tie that back into the budget.
Yes, once again, it goes back to looking at a long-term horizon.
Right.
What funds are going to be available if you're paying back a building loan and you have these replacement items that you have, $100,000 left over per year to do on these capital items. You can start naming what those capital items are per year, and that's fine. Right.
So before I go away with this and redraft it, what's your vision for what this plans and goals, what we should get out of the goals piece? What do you want to see out of it?
I think what I would like to see is all of these items having a number next to it, and then maybe
A priority.
and then prioritizing them. I mean, it may come back that we've got enough money that there's 6 items on the list and we say, we've got enough money, we can do them all. Or we say, let's do 3 this year and let's do 3 next year, you know? So I think if we've got them all exhausted and we've got budgets for every single one of them, then I think we need to come back and say, where's our priorities?
Okay,
Needs versus wants, basically.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
so let me take a shot at recrafting this,
Okay.
With one word.
and then we'll rediscuss it at the next,
Is it down to
And
one
I
page?
don't know about you all, but for the last 3 years, I've actually been advocating that we could actually have a meeting like this, and I had so many bumps and roadblocks, and you have to have an attorney, and you have to get, and we put it on the agenda, and we made it happen, and a couple people stuck around, and they left.
we just
So
advertise
I
it
think
and
that
then wait
if
till
we
people
ever
leave the
need-
room.
I don't think we have to do this every board meeting, but I think that we certainly could do it
Needed basis.
once a quarter, especially if we're all.
Personally, I think it's great because not being around all the time, maybe not having all the information ahead of time. This is great. I love listening to all you guys and
Yeah.
this is something that I would push for every now and then.
Better than going around in an email thread.
Of course.
that Goes on forever.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. But that's just me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, thanks. Good job. Thanks for taking us through it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Now I
guys.
need to
Thanks,
talk to
everyone.
you.
All you guys who spend all this time on this, thank you.
Yeah.
Prior, we established-